Hello, welcome to podcast 5, and it's a long one this week, but hopefully really insightful and a podcast that people can get something from. I speak to my good friend Jawn McClenaghan, who is one of my closest friends and has been since I was 16 years old. We talk about how we met and how we became so close on the podcast and the reasons for it. But Jawn basically gave up drinking alcohol about 7 years ago, so 2 years before me, and a big reason as to what made me think that I should do it too, because me and Jawn were drinking buddies. He was all of a sudden not drinking, and I started to see the improvements that he was making to his life and how much better he was looking and feeling, and it was a big reason for me to say to myself, you know what, I think I should do that too, because we both were basically the same when it came to our issues and problems with alcohol. So the podcast is basically most of it is talking about alcohol and how it kind of affected us and almost destroyed us, and how we have gotten to where we are now and the people that we are now without it. And hopefully, as I say, if anyone is in a similar situation where they feel that it might be affecting them, can listen to this and take something from it, definitely. And I appreciate Jawn coming on and speaking so open and honest about everything. It can't be easy to do that. So yeah, big thanks to him, and here it is, episode 5 with Jawn. What was that?
A pumping USB.
How we doing, mate?
I'm good.
Good air, my man.
I'm good.
Good to have you on the podcast. Welcome.
It's good to be here. We day off work, so
What's been happening?
better way
Not seen you in a long time,
to.
mate.
I know it's been a while. Just summer holidays, you know.
Summer holiday? Oh, the kids.
Kids. Daisy's back at school. Oliver's a toddler running about, climbing stuff, throwing himself off stuff, eating anything.
You still got that lovely hair.
Oh aye.
That's what matters.
I'll get it done. Oliver or me?
Oliver.
Oliver.
Oh,
Aye.
you're thinking you there?
I'm thinking me.
Did you
but
cut your hair off? No.
Nah, it's hiding. I'll get it later.
Right, okay, we'll see that shit later, man.
Nah, Oliver's
lovely Braveheart
just-
here.
Oliver's just mad. He's just running about wild, and it's fun, man.
Aye.
It's a big change.
Be good to see him again, man. He was just a little tiny baby last time I saw him.
He's-
Can he talk?
He's getting big. He can say some words like the usual kind of like family members' names,
Aye.
like stuff like that. But
Smoko.
Smoko Loco. Like he'll say like different words, different days, and then he'll just come out with something one day. So I'm just hoping one day he doesn't start like saying some lyrics to the songs that I listen to. 'cause
I can imagine
I
that,
just
mate.
listen to rap now.
Not good.
So we'll see how that goes, man. But
Good,
how,
man.
How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Pretty mental week, but it's obviously Friday night. What time is it? 8:30. So do this, and then that'll be me at home.
This is a
And
good
then it's the
introduction
weekend.
to what we're doing, because it's Friday night in Glasgow city centre at 30 minutes past 8, or 8:30 would be easier. And to think where we would normally be at 8:30
On the
on
Heine's,
Friday,
0%,
we're
but
sitting here drinking fake beers, which kind of sets us up nicely for what we're talking about.
well,
I
exactly.
guess.
Well, the next thing is basically why we're doing this podcast, and you're the third person I've had on it, but the first person who's not basically to do with the gym, essentially.
Obviously.
Oh, I don't mean it that way, mate. I just mean he was obviously part of Elite. Stevie was a client. You're the first non-fitness related podcast, which we can tie this into fitness in a way, obviously, because
Anti-fitness.
what's that?
Anti-fitness.
Yeah. But essentially, I think that it's going to be a really insightful podcast for people to listen to see about how we turn our lives around, basically, and the reasons for that, and because I think it's really important, man.
Definitely.
It's a
And again,
massive part.
you probably get the same, but I get a lot of people like messaging me time to time, like that I've maybe known or we've hung around with,
course.
or you've known through friends or people that you know of but never actually like spoken with.
Yeah.
And they'll message quite a lot, being like, any tips or like just
asking how
did
we
you
done
stop?
it and stuff.
Aye.
That's exactly what I done.
And it feels
Were you?
good. I know it's not like the most glamorous conversation, but it feels good that you can like maybe help someone make a decision that they're maybe too scared to like reach out to their actual friends or
totally.
close family and whatever. So it's like a bit of anonymous help, I guess.
Definitely, man. So no idea how long this will last, but I'm hoping that however long it is, it will be of good value, because this is why we're doing this kind of thing, man. It's to help people basically, and if one or two people get something from it, I'm sure there will be somebody who will be able to listen to it and relate. And this is what we want, mate.
Definitely.
Because what we're obviously going to talk about is how it changed our life. So who knows whose life it could change, and that's pretty insane, man, isn't it?
Pretty much,
cool, but man, because as you say, 8:20 on a Friday night, not too long ago, we'd be falling over ironing boards and all that. So
I'd have been finished work in 5 hours, bottle of Jaeger down, 8 cans.
And that's only the start of the night, man.
That's just the legals.
So let's go right back to the start. How we became friends. I don't really know if you'll totally remember. I do.
Of course you know. I mean,
well,
I think from my memory, I'll give you my version first because...
Do you remember the exact place? See, if you don't, I'm going to be pretty upset, mate.
I remember speaking to you for the first time in the garage.
That's it, mate.
At a thrice gig.
That's the one, mate. That's the one. That's how we met. That's how we first came into contact.
I kind of recognise you obviously from gigs and stuff.
Obviously, I recognised you, Hot Jawn. If they wanted to be his pal and if they wanted to know you and talk to you, this is why I got. It was like trying to talk to a hot girl. You need to get drunk first and then you do it, and then you've got that excuse of being pissed.
I remember you saying I had to get drunk to speak to you.
It's embarrassing, but you know,
I'm just like,
thank fuck I did.
Well,
became good mates.
Wouldn't be here.
Exactly.
I'd be still rolling about the streets, covered in my own stuffs.
But that's how we met, and then obviously, well, you can give your version of how you think the reasons why we ended up being proper friends, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think there's a difference. Like, I think because we were so young. I mean, I don't even know if I was still in school. I don't even know.
I would have been that thrice gig. I'm pretty sure I would have been like 16.
I think you were maybe...
You might have been 17. No, you were 17, mate, because I remember you turned 18 not long after we became friends, because you could legally buy drink and you gave me your fake ID.
Well, I left school at 17 in 6th year because I was really young in school. So I think I'd left school. I think that was actually the summer I left school, because it was the first time I went to Reading and Leeds, and the thrice show was after that or just before.
Yeah.
So I was actually just about to embark on about a week of college before I thought, no way.
A week?
A week of college.
What were you doing?
Integrated product design.
Oofed.
I wanted graphic design, but it was full. And then integrated product design was like, I don't know, just words. The first project we got was to make a 3D letter with plastics. And use some sort of solvent.
I don't even know what's coming here, and I'm already laughing.
I attempted it, and that was it. It was done. And I actually done one drawing ever. And funnily enough, I think it was actually Heineken. It was like those.
There you go.
It was kind of like water-based markers that we used, and like it was like an advert campaign, and we had to basically come up with something quite like, I think I just copied out a book. But anyway, off with the tangent. I think I had just left school when we first met, and I think, I don't know, I mean, we weren't that bad then, like obviously we drank.
Well, for me, that was me starting to go to gigs with a drink in me, and obviously I was enjoying it, and that's why it became a thing. We couldn't go to a gig sober, basically. I don't think of any gig we would have been sober at between the ages of 16 and 24 or whatever, you know.
I think for me, like, just turning, like, probably not far off 18, like, I started drinking, like, maybe 14, like, in school, going to parties at the weekend, and there wasn't much that I didn't do without drink socially, but it wasn't, like, it never got taken that far
Aye,
back
totally.
then.
I think back then it was a lot to do with just fun.
Aye,
It was just good fun, wasn't it?
I mean, you would get really hammered
3
drinking.
litre
Like,
of cider or whatever.
aye, like even that. I mean, it's not a lot.
Oh, that would
Shared.
get you out your nut.
Like, I think when we met, like at first it was more kind of like, because were you playing in a band at that point? Or
Yeah, well, it
you
was.
had just started.
I'm pretty sure it was. Was it Lost for Words or My Actions? I think
Lost
it
for
was.
Words.
I think it might have been Lost for Words. That was our maybe last gig, and then it was My Actions. Your exit from then
Aye.
on in.
But I think like quite quickly after we started hanging out, like, because I mean, there's so many people that I met through drinking, or like through going to gigs. Because
Hundreds.
I mean, I could go to pubs when I was like 15, because I had a bit of stubble and fake ID, and I would just go to the Solid Rock Cafe, wear an obscure metal band T-shirt, Children of Bodom T-shirt before they even had like 2 albums, and people would just assume that you were older because you knew something about some weird music. So you would go there, 2-3 pints, and you'd be absolutely done in. But you would meet so many people in these kind of social like places. But I think when we met, it was just, I don't know, something clicked, even though we were still so young. And
I don't know, and I totally agree, man. Like, I remember, I think this was maybe the first time that we met at that Thrice gig, but one of the first times that we actually spent time together was My Actions or Lost for Words, whatever it was playing with 8 Page Pull Out and possibly your band at the time. I can't remember. I think it might be in your band as well, but basically we're playing at the Ivory Blacks, and we went into somebody's motor with a 3 litre of Frosties, and we sat and drank it all in like half an hour, maybe less than that.
I'm sure that was like a last minute thing as well. I actually cycled by that pub that we sat in the car outside of every single night coming back from work to get the train.
Yeah, well, I come from Southside. I'm past that pub every single
on the
day.
bus.
Right.
It's horrific, but I mean,
I remember the JK came up to the window and all that. Like, that was what? Well, that would have been 14 years ago, man.
aye,
I remember it all
14
very
years.
clearly. But I remember that night. It was a full night. We went to a party after the gig, and we were in the party all night. And then I stayed at your house for the first time, and I think we just enjoyed each other's stupid company. And
I think it's one of these things. Like, there's so many people that drank around us, but it just didn't really feel. I don't know.
It was just so much. It was just so much fun. It was just so funny. Like, this shit, like, we used to talk about, and like, we were into the same music, obviously. At that point, just all pop punk and a bit of metal
the weird
and
thing
stuff.
is, like, there was so many bands that you listened to that I didn't know of, and probably vice versa. Even though we were only like 2 years.
Yeah, totally.
Not even fully 2 years difference in age, but I don't know. Something clicked anyway.
Like, we even got into a routine of just. Literally all it would be me coming round to your house, and we'd sit in your kitchen
every
on
weekend. You were off work.
MSN. No, because it'd be through the week, because you had that job where you started at like 6 till 11, and you reminded me your dad used to always pick me up at Blantyre train station, and you used to be sitting in the front with the Squindle. 3 litres of Frosty Jacks for anyone that doesn't know what that is. And we just used to sit in your kitchen and get absolutely wrecked, talk mince, listen to tunes, pishing glasses and all that, and then go to bed. That's all we done.
I mean, at the time it seems funny and like, oh my god, I'm a rebelling against something. But at the end of the day, like, it'd be easy to say that's just what kids do, but I don't think it's that normal. I don't think normal kids.
That was we always had to get pushed. We had to. We always had, even if it wasn't getting too far, there was still drink involved. And it was always a case of, just always wanting a drink. So this is all that kind of leads on to the next bit of asking when you thought it was going to be an issue for you, and when did you actually admit it?
I mean, jumping like from there to there is like 6 years. So even at that point, at like 18. It was weird.
Just to cut in, man, what I mean, just in case you're not clear, like, for me, I realised there was a problem very early on, because I was always getting into trouble, like getting myself into bother, fucking friendships up, relationships, family, shit, other like worse shit than that, you know. And so I knew there was a problem because all everybody else was getting drunk, but they weren't getting into that border that we were. So I knew there was a problem, but I didn't admit this is an actual thing I need to sort for a long time after that. So I don't know if you're the same or not.
I think for me, like, I probably knew it was an issue, but not really ever thinking it was like legitimately like you're an alcoholic basically.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many stigmas attached to like alcoholism, like if you're not drinking every day, you're not an alcoholic.
Oh, as soon as you wake up and stuff like that.
And that's just some sort of like fictional character that people like to like. And again, I don't know if people say that because they want to make themselves feel better. Like, I'm not an alcoholic because I don't do this, I don't do that. But at the end of the day, like, you can be an alcoholic like that binge drinks. So you like, there's people I know that, or I've heard stories about that would go dry for like 2-3 months, and then just go absolutely wild for 3 months. Like, and that's still something that if you've actually routined it, that like if that thought process is there to do that. I mean, it doesn't make it safer because you're sober for 3 months. Like, if you go wild for 3 months and just relentless for 3 months, like, anything could happen.
Of course, man.
And your body's obviously adapting to dry and then wrecked. And
I think a part of the problem of trying to stop before I actually did was the fact that you used to tell people I'm not drinking, and they'd say why, and you'd be, well, I've got a problem. And the reaction is always, no, you don't. You just can't go up for your work, or you just drink it too much at the weekends. Just don't drink as much. And you're thinking, sometimes that probably convinced me, was enough to convince me to say, I know you're probably right, give a drink. Until it got to a point where it's like, no, I'm not listening to you anymore. I know there's a problem, and just because you don't see me 7 days a week, you only see me on a Saturday night.
Weekend,
it's like
I mean, that was the big one.
Like,
that's a good point. Like, for me, I mean, there's people I still haven't seen since I stopped. Some for reason, some for no other reason, and I didn't go out socially anymore. I mean, I still did for a while, but not as much. But I think the problem kind of, like, when I started working full time, it was fun. Like you said earlier, it was like a nighttime thing, 3-4 hours for the tax office. It wasn't hard work. It wasn't.
Well, you could sleep in every morning.
There was no like need to get up early. Excuse me. It was like being at college, but you're getting paid to do it. Like, it wasn't difficult, and I was getting paid. So, me earning money for the first time at that age, it was nice to be able to buy things and obviously go out as much as I wanted and stuff. Because before, it would be like, say to my mum, oh, it's somebody's birthday, can I get 20 quid? And it would be like every weekend, every Tuesday, going to Revolution, and you would get drinks for £1, so you'd be like 20 pints, 20 quid, boof, there you go.
Scary
but
thought, innit?
I think, like, I didn't consciously think of it as an issue until maybe I was about 20, 21, when it started affecting my work. Like, because at first, in my first job, even when I started working full time during the day, I would make myself get up out of bed. I'd maybe go home at like any time between 12 and 3, wake up at 6:30, roll out of bed, get picked up by my neighbour at 7 and drive to work for 7:30. And I don't understand how they managed to drive with me in the passenger seat stinking of like cheap booze.
I don't know how you managed to get up.
Man. But when that started like changing, as you know, I was very, very bad for like not getting up for work. Or even the worst part that makes me so ashamed was waking up and texting my mum on like a Monday after saying, listen, I'm staying out, I promise I'll be at work. Set an alarm, wake up, text to say I'm on the train to work, and then go back to sleep. Not even set an alarm to phone into work, just phone in whenever.
Totally.
Literally.
I've been there so many times, and as you say, it's you look back and you think, fuck.
It's just like you feel like you let so many people down, and obviously family's the most important one.
Yeah, totally.
But like my boss was a great guy, and he helped me out as much as he could. Obviously there's procedures in place, there's unions that try to help you, but at the end of the day, I still wasn't claiming alcoholism. I was still saying, right, I'll try and rein it in.
We would convince ourselves that we would, though.
Aye.
We would say never again. Or
I think every single
I'll stop on a
start of the
Saturday and
week.
stop drinking on a Sunday, but it was too hard.
I think for me, even talking about it, I'm getting a wee flutter. Like, I think in my 20s, like maybe 22, possibly 21, but 22 definitely up till 24 when I stopped. Like, I was suffering with really bad anxiety. And again, it would be impossible to prove if it was the drink that made me get the anxiety or if I had the anxiety anyway, because I was drunk all the time, or at least drinking all the time.
Yeah.
So it's hard to
You still get
to
it?
know. I've not had it since.
Well, I think
So
that's your
obviously, I don't know if I had it and the drink was fueling it,
answer. Totally.
or if the drink was creating it. But anyway, I think going through that, it got to the point where, I mean, you'll know from me crashing at your flat all the time, as soon as I woke up, I would go into like a panic attack, and my body would tense up, my heart would race, my left arm would go numb, and even my face, like the whole left side of my body would just feel weird. And in my head I'm thinking, it can't be that, it's not booze. Of course it was booze.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
Especially if it's not happened since, I think that's.
I mean,
that's a bit of a blatant answer, isn't it?
the whole thing, the whole time we drank, like, we must have had alcohol poisoning at some points that we never knew about because we just kept going.
Mate, there was some days where I couldn't fucking eat anything. Couldn't drink water. I couldn't drink water without spewing up bile all day. Pure yellow shit. And I literally could not drink water to hydrate myself because my body would just back up.
Aye.
But that was like
Near
maybe
the
after
end.
a 3-4 day bender. But as you're saying with the anxiety thing there, mate, I was like me with, I don't want to say depression because I know it's such a, like it's a big word to say, but when I was drinking, especially when I was getting older, man, like, I was so fucking, like, mentally fucked up all the time. Like, the only thing that was making me happy was bevying, because the hangovers were so bad that would make, and the regret and the fear and the sitting in work stinking of drink and all that. Like, I was like, I fucking did not enjoy how I looked, how I felt, or how I acted. I hated it all. And I hated my job as well. So that all together was not a happy fucking life, man. Like, it wasn't at all. The only things that made me happy was playing in the band, going to the football, or getting pissed.
In which that all
revolved around drink.
Hand in hand,
You go to band practice, you take tins, you go out after it. You go to the game, you go to the pub. You're getting pissed, and that was the only time I was happy. But I was too blind to see that the only reason that I was unhappy was because I was constantly drunk, hungover, or just thinking about, Jesus, man, what did we do at that weekend? Who did we upset? Who did we piss off?
I think that's the kind of,
just quickly at the end there, because since I stopped drinking, I've never felt like that.
aye.
So there's my answer. I wasn't depressed.
I think,
I felt like that because of the way I was living my life, essentially.
aye, and that's kind of where the catch-22 comes in, because you're sitting in work, like you said, stinking a drink. People are probably just like,
It's embarrassing,
state
man.
of this guy.
Aye, totally.
And I know there's stigmas with everything, but to be like that, surrounded by people in the kind of social circles we went in, it was almost like it was acceptable to be like that,
Aye.
even though we were worse than the majority.
I think a lot of people are the same, though.
But I think that's where it becomes a kind of contrast in life, because you're going into like an office job, or like when you work for the bank, like, it's embarrassing to be around the public face to face, and in a like workplace that's supposed to be professional. People are trusting you with things, and I was the same in my work in the office as well. But then when it gets to the weekend, you're out partying with people that are in the same boat. Maybe worse, maybe not. You just don't know, because people weren't really that open about it. But you felt safe there. You knew, like, I can drink as much as I want, I can dance, I can sing, I can do whatever. And it was accepted. Like,
that kind of leads, maybe actually goes into the next thing I want to talk about, is why we were so crazy together. Because, you know, I would go out maybe with certain folk and it wouldn't be that bad, and maybe I would end up still drinking too much. maybe I would end up still drinking too much and sleeping in for work or texting fucking people that I shouldn't be, or doing whatever stupid thing it is you do when you're drunk. But it wouldn't be to the point where it was fucking mental. But most of the times that we were drinking or going out, it was carnage, man. It was chaos, man. It was. Like, most of the time.
I think
it would always descend into a bender, or would end up somewhere crazy, or, you know, just various different things. But it was just
it was
crazy,
can't
man.
really talk about.
It was mental.
But I think
but it was always me and you.
Aye, I think that's the difference. Like, that's probably why we ended up friends anyway, not just drinking buddies, because there's so many of them. Like you say, there's so many different groups of friends or different people you would maybe drink with one-on-one. But I think, like, through it all, like, because we still, I mean, I remember coming to yours and staying and, like, watching movies, and we would maybe not drink at all, some, like, very, very few and far between times. But we could do it as well, it's just that we didn't choose to, but if we wanted to, we did do it a few times. And
I generally don't remember those nights, if I'm being
I
honest.
remember we watched a movie called Dead End
Was this in
Dumbarton.
Oh, we were
At
pissed
your
that
mum's.
night, mate.
You sure?
Oh,
probably,
mate,
because I mean,
dude,
the movie was just
dude,
like
we
a
were
fucking
drinking.
loop.
I actually remember.
I remember drinking bottles of Miller, actually. I tell a
No,
lie.
Miller and Squindle with Fanta Fruit Twist.
Squindle is cider.
Fanta Fruit Twist, and that was the days when you used to stay at my house.
But the thing is, but see, even then, right, I was probably like 19, you were 17 or 18 and 20, whatever.
Yeah.
But we used to share one bottle. That's a litre and a half of cider. That's only like 3 pints. And I know it was rancid stuff, but see, because we drank so much, that would, obviously, we would crave more. But I think...
Or we'd get another bottle or whatever.
At that point, that would get us, like, rattled because it was constantly in our system.
But I think what you were saying, like, when you feel that... when you're getting wrecked around other people who like to get wrecked, it's just like you're in a safe environment because you don't feel out of place. But maybe that's why we were so mad, because we both liked getting so fucked up that it was normal to us.
Aye.
Because we would never
judge each other.
Aye, totally, man. Like, we would just... Aye, alright, we probably knew in the next day or the days following, like, that was stupid or whatever, but in that moment, both of us are going for it. Nobody's saying, what the fuck you doing? Was you hang out with other people and they're like, what you doing, drinking that much, or slow down, or I'm stopping. But we were just like, always, let's get more and fucking go to the shop and get more, or we'll go out and going out and fucking no money, just in the hope that people would buy you drinks and stuff, just because we didn't. We never wanted it to end, mate. We never wanted it to end.
It was like a kind of, like, looking back on it, it feels like I would never change any of it, because I don't believe I would be where I am just now.
Well, that's the thing.
The choices I've made and whatever. Same for you.
Totally.
But I know, like, at the time, it feels like fiction looking back at it. Like, it feels like... I know people use the word character quite a lot and, like, all the other stuff, like lad and all that shit. Yeah. But I think character, like, it felt like we were some sort of, like, comedy tag team. And not consciously at the time, but looking back at it now, like, most of my favourite, like, comedy movies or comedy sketches, or I don't really like solo comedy acts. There's only a few people, but I really like duos, right? And I just feel like when we went, not in a big-headed way, because people used to say stuff like this all the time, and you would kind of laugh it off and shake it off, whatever. But looking back, like, if we went to a party, or went to a gig, or went to wherever, and we were together, like, people would genuinely be happy, as if, like, and again, maybe people were just thinking this will be funny because they're a pair of idiots.
Probably,
and we were the entertainment that was free, and we acted like idiots.
But at the same time, though, we had a lot of friends, like mutual friends, and people who, as you say, were like happy to see us when we turned up at gigs and stuff like that. So I don't think we must have not been putting them off that much, because they were, as you say, like, we had, like, our friend circle. See those gig days, man. The friend circle was huge, man.
Huge,
You used to go to a gig and you knew 3/4 of the people that were there. Do you know what I mean?
And I think that's what made it a kind of safety net as well. Like, I was never, like, bullied in school as such, but you still kind of felt slightly out of place sometimes in certain situations. But I think when you go to gigs and you knew all these people, that didn't go to your school, all these people from all over Scotland, and it just felt like safe, and this was your own wee like club.
Yeah.
And I think as we got older, that kind of stuck there, even if the groups get smaller or whatever. Yeah. And I think the drinking was just one of these things that held everybody together. But I think because we started off really bad, really early, it obviously just grew with us and got worse. And I think that's the kind of point as well, going back to like why we became friends. Like there's a lot of people that we didn't stay friends with, or maybe grew up quicker than we did.
Yeah,
and like,
definitely.
I think that, going back to the point about like when did I think it was a problem, I think when I started missing work, not going to work, making excuses, and when it started affecting like my family life and my parents not knowing where I was, because I would frequently go out for the weekend and not go home, sometimes for weeks, turn the phone off, or the phone wouldn't be charged, because nobody had the same phones back then.
We used to be, when you're in that fucking third day in, like, you're not thinking about anything about yourself.
Nah.
Phones are getting turned off. Doors. You know what I mean?
Even saying it like it's, we're laughing, but it's the most
laughing because it's so fucked up, man. Like, we'll go into that.
Thing.
We'll go into that in a wee second. But like I'm saying, you know, doors are getting locked. Literally, people at the door, and you're pretending you're not in because you can't face it.
Can't function.
We're just so selfish, man. And like, it's, you look, as I say, you look back and you think, fuck me, man. Like, I actually, like, as I talked on my second podcast about regretting that with what happened to my dad, like, kills me, man. To look back and think, fucking hell, man, like, why did you do that? But at the time, you didn't. You don't fucking realise.
It takes stuff like that. I know that's a really, really serious thing to happen, but it takes things like that to make you realise how bad you were at the time.
Totally.
Do you know? And
because at the time you're thinking, oh, for fuck's sake, leave me alone. What's
you're the inconvenience.
Why
me.
Is it so bad? Like, gonna leave me alone? Like, but you realise people are worried about you. People are thinking you're going to kill yourself with drink, or people are going to think that you're going to go out and not come home and stuff like that.
I think people, like, again,
these are going down so well, man. They're so nice.
I know, fake beers, man. Who'd have thought? Like, the whole people were like worried about you and stuff. Like, I know mental health is such a big issue just now, and people are kind of opening up about it a lot. Yeah. A lot of people sadly aren't, and hopefully it gets better. But again, mental health, and
well, again, another reason for podcasts like this to try and help with that shit, man.
And I think at the time, like, I mean, I was obviously guilty of maybe not coming out and speaking to people, and
it's embarrassing, but isn't it? Like,
when you think back about it, like talking about shutting people out and stuff, it's, I lost my train of thought. Oh, right. So shutting people out and stuff, like, obviously you're saying it's not that bad, and like people want to help you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, say me going into work, and folk like that, why were you not in yesterday, or why are you 3 hours late today? You make up some bullshit excuse. You don't sit there and go, oh, do you know what, man? I couldn't stop drinking last night, even though I knew I had to come into work, and I didn't wake up. I actually didn't wake up. That's exactly it. Because again, you're fucking.
That's my point, actually. Like, the whole thing, like mental health with all the stigmas and stuff. Like, alcoholism's obviously in the same kind of boat. Like, there's obviously people that maybe have mental health issues just generally, and then you have people that will maybe acquire them through their lifestyle choices and stuff. But I think back then, like, you don't want to admit it because you're either embarrassed or you just don't really believe that you have a problem. But it's like,
you don't want it.
Aye.
You want to be like me and you are so happy about how we live our lives now. Obviously, we're both in good places and stuff. But back then, you didn't want to be the person that couldn't drink with people. So why would you admit that? Because then you're taking yourself out all these fun situations
it's
that
almost like
you're in.
It's like a weakness. It's like, I dare say, people that suffer with depression and different things, like, are probably feeling the same, like helpless, and they know there's probably help there, or at least help that could maybe try and help, but they just feel maybe like, if I can't conquer this, I'm weak. And that's obviously a lot of people sadly don't ever speak to someone about it. And I think drinking is like similar in that sense. Like, you don't want to be this guy that's like, oh, I've got a problem, I can't drink. I'm not the party anymore. I'm not part of the party. And
Well, I'll tell you a story, man, right? I obviously was not really fucking trying to or wanting to open up to this, like to me, to like my dad, for instance, because he's my dad, and I don't want him to know that I'm a fucking loose cannon, basically, when I'm bevying, because he obviously knew. And he did know because he worked in the bank as well, and he was getting told, and I wasn't getting in, and so he did know, but. You know, and he did try and speak to me about it, but obviously that's when I'm saying, "Oh no, I'm fine." It's, you know, it was just because it was just a crazy night, but it was a one-off.
Just
I'm trying to think it off, but I tell you what, right? See, when I didn't turn up one day when I was out on a Wednesday night until I think like 4 in the morning, and I got home and I kept drinking until 6, I think, and then I literally until I passed out. So I was meant to be up at 7:30, 8 to go into work at 9, and I woke up and it was 12 in the afternoon on my floor. And my dad was at my door, and I was like, "Jesus, what the fuck's happening here?" And I realised what the fuck the situation was, and I was like, "Fuck!" But obviously he was there. I couldn't run away from it. He knew I was in the flat.
You couldn't lie about it either.
So he came in, and I was still fucking drunk, basically, and he was like, he wasn't even angry. He was just like, what is happening? What are you doing? It's fucking Thursday.
Just trying to understand, really.
Hi. And I was still drunk, so I just opened up and I told him how I felt about myself and my drinking and how it was affecting my life and stuff. And I went and stayed in his house with him for a while, and that really helped. And that was on the way to me stopping. I didn't stop at that point, but it wasn't far off it. But it did really help because I had that weight off my shoulders of him now knowing,
you're not
and he could
hiding it.
then start to help me. Do you know what I mean?
It's like a kind of moment of clarity, I guess people call it. Like people that suffer different kind of mental illnesses or drinking or drug takers or whatever. And it's just these moments you get where you think like, I shouldn't be doing this. And you think, it's like when you're a kid and you watch like the Karate Kid for the first time and you think, oh my God, I want to do karate. Karate's the coolest shit I've ever seen.
Totally.
It's like when you maybe have like a weekend, like for example, every Friday I'd finish work early and I'd promise myself that I wouldn't go out. Yeah. 99.9% of the times I would be up the road, changed, back on a train over to Andy Cannon's.
All it would take was one text
to get wrecked. But there was a couple of times even where I would stay in, or I would go to the pub with my dad and his pals, and I would still drink, but I felt like because I was almost supervised, I wasn't obviously going into town and doing crazy shit, and I knew I was going home, so no matter how drunk I got, I'd still be in home the next day, and for me that was a huge achievement.
Yeah, totally.
But then you would wake up on the Saturday like, I've got this, even though you're still drinking, but those wee moments are the things that help you get to the end goal, I guess.
Definitely, man. Just when you were talking about, you know, mental health and how you're feeling and stuff like that, links into the next bit of, for me, this was a big thing, and it's really changed obviously since I stopped drinking, but how dark were your post-bender days following them? Like, I'm talking when me and you would go out on the Friday, would maybe go back to work on the Monday, but we would be drinking up to the Monday morning, or we would actually miss Monday and be back on the Tuesday or the Wednesday.
I think.
How actual dark were those days following the bender? Because this is when it gets to the point where you're starting to say,
you know,
this is no worth it, man. This is the worst shit ever, and I'm bringing this on myself, but you keep doing it. But then we're now in a situation where we're trying to, if we know, or if people, as you say, people message you and you know that there's an issue there, you're thinking, think of those days. It can't be worth it, man.
I think sometimes, like, I think about this stuff a lot, like every week. I mean, for the first like maybe 3, I've been off drink 7 years, which is bizarre to think. Like in my head, I'm saying 5, but I think for the first maybe 3-4 years at least, like I used to have them nightmares, like with different layers. Like I would wake up.
Was this after you stopped drinking?
Aye, like even now I get them not as frequent, but I would have nightmares that I was drunk and I'd do something really stupid, and then I would wake up in a panic and be like, oh no, it's fine, it's a dream. But then that would still be in the dream as well, and I would be drunk.
Yep.
And I'd be like, shit. And then I'll wake up properly and I'm sweating and stuff. But I think, I mean, there's so many examples of like generally, I've got an example I want to talk about that's really quite bad.
Is this the one?
This is the last time I drank.
Aye, well,
the last kind of week. Is that later?
That's literally the next question, so
that's fine. I think generally, and it was always the same, like any time I drank, maybe for like I said earlier, from about 22 at least to 24 when I stopped, I was getting these panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and literally when I woke up, it was like you could feel it coming on instant. It's like you open your eyes, the light comes in, and the body just kind of starts.
Was this after a bender or after just even one heavy night?
I mean, obviously this is where it kind of ties in. Like, I would always be on a bender. It doesn't matter how big or small. When I worked in offices, I would drink every lunchtime. I would drink when I go home. I was just always drinking. So, although I wasn't drunk really badly all the time, and again for us, really bad was really bad, but I was always drinking. So, like, pretty much every time I drank, it got to the point where I would have these like physical feelings and mentally.
I remember that, man. I remember that back then. You used to say that.
I used to have to, like,
talking about?
if I was going home, I would have to like phone my dad and be like, "Come pick me up. I can't go outside." And it got to the point where I thought, if I get agoraphobia, like, am I scared to go outside? But obviously in my head it was just going overtime. I know that I'm not scared to go outside.
Yeah.
I know that it's just because it's a withdrawal. And that's when I started to really realise, look, you have an issue. But the catch-22 of the whole thing, and anybody that's listening that maybe feels like they've got a problem, or even if they're not that bad, but they still think they should rein it in or stop completely, that's the catch-22. You can drink as much as you want at the weekend and go to your work Monday to Friday, that's fine. But if you're waking up feeling like, I don't want to do that again, but then you then drink because you feel like that's the only thing that's taking it away, then that's when you need to start really like questioning your choices. Because I mean, I was talking about this to someone at work actually this week. It got to the point where like drinking wasn't even enough. You'd be drinking all day, you'd go to a club, and just for that 5 minutes of waiting in a queue to get served, and this was maybe like the last year or two, you'd be, if anybody else had drank what you drank, they'd be away home. But it'd be like, say, midnight, between 12 and 1, and you're having to wait in a queue for a pint. And I would even start taking a panic attack then, because I knew I had to wait. And see, as soon as you ordered that drink, you could feel the whole body just relaxing. And that was when I knew it wasn't even just the hangovers that were bad, it was the in-between drinks was becoming a panic.
Similar to what I felt when I woke up from a night of drinking, and people were always like, how the fuck can you drink again?
You sounded like Conor McGregor there.
I'm Scottish, mate.
I know, but it was...
How the fuck did you drink again? That's Northern Irish, that doesn't count. But yeah, they're like, I remember like, my best pal Mackie, great example, because he was with me a lot of the times.
Aye.
And we'd wake up midday, go to Wetherspoons, pint
and a burger.
He's like, how can you do that, man? And it's like, it's Saturday, have a drink, or it's Sunday, have a drink. He's like, I can't drink, I've just woke up for drinking, I can't do it. And I was like, well, I need it. Like,
I used
my
to envy
body,
people like that.
fucking, like, I used to wake up and I used to just taste in my mouth. I'm like, I need to go to the pub again. And that was when it was scary, but at the time, it was just like I was blind to the fact that was a major problem, because it went on for years. But that's how all the issues with work came about, because the Friday was heavy, the Saturday was heavy. I wake up on the Sunday and I just wanted more. And then they've got Wetherspoons selling drinks for $1.50 and all that.
The problem is because
that was you all day on the Sunday.
Town.
Aye, I stayed in town,
Sucky Old Street.
18 years old for the rest of my days.
I think that's again another reason, like,
but I wouldn't change that. I don't think, man. I moved out where I live for the reasons, and I think
it's a long way to get to where you want to be. But I think the kind of the stuff that we've done, it shapes you definitely. Like, I don't think if I had been wild at that point in time, I definitely wouldn't have quit, because I wouldn't have had a reason to.
Of course, aye.
And it scares me that I could have went that way later on in life, maybe having like responsibilities and stuff like I've got now.
Exactly,
and then,
mate. That is scary, man.
Because I would never admit it at this age if I was like stall it by 7 years. If I was acting like that now, not saying it would have definitely done that, but I think I still would have had an issue at some point later on. And I don't think I could live with myself like doing those things now and destroying like serious relationships and responsibilities and jobs and
Totally.
you know.
So you're about to get into it, so go there now then. What was your lowest point in regards to obviously feeling that you just could not do this anymore, and essentially why did you make that decision to stop drinking? Because there obviously comes a point for MD who decides to never do something again. You're not just going to wake up one day and go, I'm not going to do that. Something happens, doesn't it?
Aye. I think, I mean, so much stuff had happened, and like I had actually managed to quit for like, in my head it was months, but I think the first time I stopped drinking it was like 40 days or something, so like a month and a bit. And then I went to Sheffield for New Year one year.
I remember that,
I remember leaving work and going out to buy like an outfit to take, because I was like in a fucking YSL shirt or something, short sleeve checkered shirt. So I remember going out and buying a pair of Vans, buying a pair of jeans, a shirt, and meeting some people to go down to Sheffield. And I remember getting in the car. I can't remember who was driving. I think it was Roscoe. And of course, I opened the back passenger door, and Sean McGroty's sitting across from me with a whole case of Budweisers. So we finished them on the way down. Bear in mind it's like a 4-hour drive, but
you must have been pretty pissed if you'd
10 bottles of Budweiser.
You'd not drank for 40 days, but
exactly. So I was quite hammered then. As soon as we arrived at the party, I just remember filling up, there was loads of bottles there. I remember filling up a pint glass, half of vodka, half Iron Brew, and just downing it, because obviously the quench was back, the thirst was there, and that's all I can remember. A lot of bad shit happened, but after that, it wasn't long before I stopped again for a wee bit, and the main thing was work for me. Like, I had debt, I had credit cards, I had loans to pay the credit cards. I was still living at home, so I had no like housing commitments as such.
Yeah.
And for me, work provided me to keep paying my debt, to keep this, to keep that, and obviously work was the main thing. Like, I wasn't even thinking about my family at this point. I was when I was sober, but drinking wise, I was like, I need to keep this job, and ultimately to pay for the booze, you know. And I think,
how we didn't lose our job, well, obviously you might come on to something.
Aye, well, I think the last time that the last kind of period I was drinking, I knew that if I was off my work again, I would lose my job. Yeah. And again, I still didn't stop at that point. I still had to take it to the final point before I stopped, and I think that's a good thing, because it obviously changed my path completely, employment-wise and like life-wise. But the last time I drank, I went out, I think I'd been...
Yeah, it was my birthday.
It was your birthday on the Saturday. The Friday night, I don't know what I'd done. I think actually going back to that earlier, going out with my dad, I think I was out at the pub locally on the Friday, because I remember waking up kind of groggy, and my brother had just come back from like Greece or something and bought me like a bottle of schnapps. So I remember downing that, not even enjoying it, downing that half bottle, playing FIFA online, shouting at people, singing Every Time I Die.
You were shy at FIFA as it was, then I mean, I bought a schnapps.
I was playing Neil Holmes, I was great at that point. And I'm singing down the mic to him, and I just remember like just feeling like, wow, this is fucking great, as if it was the first time I'd ever drank, because I had a wee bit of time off it. Again, I don't know how long I had been off it at that point, probably like 2 weeks.
No longer.
And then I like obviously came out for your birthday that day. I didn't notice until the Sunday. I'd lost my wallet. I've got
photos for that.
Oh, so have I, man.
I lost You're my sitting wallet with the glasses on with that mad hair and that shirt. You're just so... You're like the big leader in the middle of the photo. And if these run you like that, yo! And you're just like the ringleader, man. But I remember that classic grand, I remember. And I remember you losing everything, actually. I do remember
I don't remember much of the night, but I remember waking up, no wallet, no phone, no iPod, no shoes, no specs, and it was crazy.
I think it was obviously my birthday. I think I had to go to a family thing, and you stayed in my flat.
Well, aye, and I think I think I'm getting my days mixed up, but the Sunday was the World Cup final,
Oh shit, aye.
and we drank. We had
Aye, I came back and we were drinking
a
again.
couple of mates come over, and we had
Fuck.
a case of Koperberg pear cider.
Aye, and a bottle of rum.
Aye.
We were,
the
drinking rum and Red Bull.
The rum was slightly used, right? The Monday morning, I woke up.
I went to work.
You went to work
Fished.
somehow.
I went to bed at 5:30 in the morning. I got up at 8 and went to the bank.
You went to work.
I was humming.
I woke up, text to say I was going to work. Back to sleep. Woke up and I kind of panicked like I always did. Total panic. And I couldn't find my shoes, couldn't find anything. I think I maybe had my phone at that point because I managed to phone my work later on. My shoes somebody had been sick in my shoes. So I phoned Roscoe. Roscoe came to your flat. And while I waited on him, I drank the rest of your bottle of Havana Club with water because there was no mixers. So I felt at ease lying in Nate's bed drinking Havana Club. So Roscoe came up, brought a pair of shoes for me, went round all the places we had been. I went to TGI Fridays for my wallet, went to Bar Block for my iPod, and I don't even know what I'd done about the glasses. I might have just went and got a new pair with my credit card and could see, or maybe I couldn't see. But this was the Monday, right? So I phoned into my work. They know I'm not there.
Oh, I was getting phone calls off your fucking mum, I think.
Everybody was phoning you to find out where I was, because obviously I'd said I was going to work. Embarrassing. The Monday night we went to the garage, I think. And I remember a guy that I worked with at the time.
You were in, I remember coming home from work and texting you, or texting somebody that was with you. And you were in the Pot Still.
In the
pub.
whiskey bar.
Aye, and I came in. Because I was in there drinking on my own the week before, crying about something. Drinking with Sean Murphy was behind the bar, and I was sitting talking to him, drinking, getting wrecked all day Saturday, and I put a bet on behind they had this thing with the World Cup, and I put a bet on that I got a lucky dip, whoever won it that year. Spain were going to win it, so I won. So one, I was coming to pick up my winnings, and two, you were sitting in, buttered, just like that, what am I going to do? And I was just like, you need to get home, mate. And you just couldn't.
Even at that point, when you obviously had a problem and it was really bad, because you'd been to work and you walked in the shirt and tie and whatever, and I just felt so fucking like, just like that, you've been at work, you've saved the day, you know that by the Tuesday you're going to be feeling half normal. And I just couldn't do that. I could never do that. We went to the garage that night, kept the party going. The Tuesday morning, still don't know to this day whose flat we stayed at. But I woke up in a tent in someone's living room with the doors zipped over, like sweating like fuck. Checked my phone. Obviously, it's been dead for like 4 days.
Was it 31F? No,
it was Denniston somewhere.
Because there was a tent floating about 31F.
And I think I was out with like Mike Rice or someone. Woke up in this tent sweating, like didn't even know if I was inside. Thought I was camping. Opened the tent, I'm in a living room, like, right, we need to go, woke everyone up.
So this is day fucking 5?
This is day 5.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
This is Tuesday.
This is day 5, man.
Went to Cumbernauld with Mikey McGrory because I was begging him, I'm like, don't leave me. If you leave me, I might need to go home, and I don't want to go home. I can't face admitting that I've done it again, I've went wild, I'm going to lose my job. Not that staying away was like bettering the situation.
That's the thing.
You're literally on the run for yourself, but you can't get out yourself because you're inside yourself.
You know yourself, you need to go home at some point.
Aye.
But you just keep avoiding
admit
it.
Liability, but there's no insurance, so you're just like...
But you're so drunk as well, you can't fucking make a decision
I
to just
still
do
don't
it.
know how I got from Cumbernauld back to Glasgow. I remember getting to Glasgow.
Did Beansy no pick you up or something for band practice?
I get picked up off Beansy somewhere in the kind of West End area. Went to band practice. Obviously I didn't have my stuff, so I used Beansy's spare guitar.
You were playing?
I was trying to play guitar. I could barely hold it. And I had bottles of Desperados.
Oh my god, man.
And I just remember everybody being like... Because I drank at practice, but I was always like... As much as
able to play the tunes,
as much as I had the problem, during the week, I was quite tame, even though I was still drinking and hammering booze. I was never like falling about drunk. I was like a functioning alcoholic, if you want to call it. But that night, they were just like, it's a Tuesday night, what the fuck's going on? And I remember running away at the end of the practice, like midnight, it was like 9 to 12. I think we finished early because there was no point, because I was obviously messing everything up. But the weird thing is, no matter how fucked I was, I can still remember these things. And I don't know if it's because it was the last time, it's just kind of sunk in my memory. But I remember running up the lane. When you come out the studio, there was like a lane that goes up onto the main road. And I remember running away from them, literally shouting, it's Tuesday night, I'm going to Rev. I don't even think Rev was on at this point.
Fucking probably not, man.
Like 7 years ago, I think Rev was dead. But I was like, I'm going anywhere. I'll go into town, I'll go to the local bars, I'll go to the
Did you
anywhere.
have money?
Probably not. Fuck knows. Probably the bank card or a credit card. And I knew I would find someone, and that was the problem. Like, I would have drank with anyone. See if there's someone I see that I slightly recognise.
Oh, totally, man.
I'll go and drink with them and stay at their house, so I don't need to go home and obviously admit defeat. And I remember going home that night. They locked me in the car, took me home. And obviously at that point I was starting to slowly sober up mentally, thinking, shit, this is it. Like, they're going to be so disappointed.
You pretty much know you've lost your job at this point.
Aye. And I think there was like I was saying earlier, there's generally the darkest times, there's plenty of them. But for me, that last week, as much as it's a happy feeling now, thinking back to the exact moment that I had my last drink.
Sorting it out, basically.
Funnily enough, with the band, the recovery.
Yeah.
At practice. But I think for me, mentally, like having to go home and sit and cry to like my mum, and like probably said some stuff that wasn't necessarily true, like about how I felt about myself and like where I was mentally and my intentions and stuff, because obviously you're not thinking straight anyway, you're really down. And I don't think
it's weird as well, because the last day for me as well, I was the exact same.
Aye.
Exact same.
It just all comes out as if you've been touched.
But I think
on
that's
it.
how you're feeling at the time.
Aye, I mean, you don't know.
Things are that if you fucked up that bad, and it's like the 50th time you've done it. You know what I mean? It's it's hard to live with yourself, man.
I think at that point I knew, like, this is it, because in my head, like, I wasn't thinking about it consciously. Like people always say, like, you have to hit rock bottom before you can truly like start to build up or realise. For me, the job, like I said, it fueled my debt, it fueled money I gave my parents for staying there, food, but most importantly it fueled the booze. And genuinely in my head I'm thinking, how am I going to continue to drink with no job? Because I probably, if I didn't stop drinking, I probably would have been doing anything, pretending to play songs in town for money. Like, honestly, I would have done anything for drink at that point.
Yeah.
And I think just pouring it all out, knowing that I can't do any worse now. I've got nothing to lose. If I lose my job, like, and again, it could have went the other way. I've got nothing else to lose, so I'm going to keep drinking. But I think for me, it was that's when the family thing kicked in. I knew that everybody was concerned. I knew everybody was annoyed. But more so that week, because people were phoning around, didn't know where I was, and I had been kind of good for the past week, period before then. And I mean, a lot of bad stuff had happened like round about that time, and I won't go into it, but a lot of personal stuff and like stuff in the family, like bereavement and whatever, and that always made it worse. It's like a crutch. Like, you're bad enough without bad stuff happening, but when bad stuff happens, you go even wilder.
But then again, I used to use bad shit as the excuse to get fucked up, because it was my way with dealing with everything, basically. If I had a bad day at work, if something bad happened, and just in life, basically, my answer was always to fuck this, I'm getting wrecked.
No, I mean,
you bury your head in the sand, and then you deal with it 4 days later when you sober up.
It's so
way,
easy
terrible
to
way.
do.
It was a terrible way to fucking do things, man. Because all you're doing is continually letting people down, continually upsetting people, losing pals, losing girls, family members not wanting to fucking talk to you.
Luckily, we never lost like ourselves, because I think at the end, like, the amount of deep conversations we probably had with each other people, like even at the point at the end when we were drinking so much, like, I was taking other stuff, do you know? Like, I was getting to the point where I was that drunk, I was trying stuff that probably could have ended it all in that one night.
Totally.
And that's scary for me, like, it could have went down that road.
It's crazy, man. Like I never done that because drink was always like enough for me. Like I was always fucked up enough on drink. I never thought or had to take anything else. But the sheer amount of drink sometimes is enough to kill people. It generally is, man. Because you hear about people drinking a certain amount and dying, and we've drank way more than that on numerous times. You think about Leeds Festival and that. I know everybody goes to a festival and drinks for 5 days, but we canned full bottles of spirits and beers before we even got there and stuff like that.
Again,
it's insane. I woke up with a black eye once and no phone, no idea what happened. Somebody's probably actually battered me and mugged me, and I've just somehow got home and I actually can't remember it happening. I've woken up with chipped teeth and that. Somebody's obviously smacked me and I can't even remember
what you've said to someone, or if you've hit someone, or
you've no idea. And you know, you wake up and people are saying you almost get knocked down by a motor and you were fucking close to
chasing buses and shit.
Aye, I mean, it's just like, when we were that out of control, we are very lucky that we didn't hurt ourselves badly, man.
And it's probably sounds tame, like people listening to this or watching this, like, oh, look at us, we were fucking drunks. Like, I think it's what a lot of the time you had to be there. And I think that's why a lot of people that didn't see us all the time didn't realise how bad it was.
Yeah.
Because they didn't see all.
They didn't see us on a Monday when we should be at work drinking dregs with a fucking beer bottle.
Aye.
They didn't see that shit, man.
I know.
You're not going to post on social media, Facebook or MySpace, whatever was the time. You're not going to post, I didn't get into work today and I'm still drinking. You wouldn't say that. Do you know what I mean? You hide that stuff because it's embarrassing. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's the thing about social media. Even then, like, MySpace was the main thing. Like, everybody just wants to post positive stuff, which is fine. But I think now I see a lot of more people posting like stuff about how they're coping mentally and physically, especially people positively showing like changes physically, like obviously the stuff you're doing with clients.
And this is what
this is all about.
That's what gets on me so much when people like rip the piss out people doing that. Like, why the fuck would you, like, people get egged on for doing stupid shit. Go, do it, oh, that's fucking brilliant and funny, but you post the before and after of your body because you're proud of losing weight and living a healthy life, and people call you a dick for it or whatever, and go and fucking stop showing off, or you know what I mean? It's like people get not all my clients, but a lot of my clients are scared to post things on their social media of the positive shit they're doing.
Aye.
But people have no problem with the funny drunk statuses
or the negative side
or
of
all the videos of being out and wrecked in pubs and stuff like that. That's all funny, but when somebody posts something
they're proud of,
happy, that they are actually proud of and happy about, it's looked at as a negative. But not by everybody, but by a lot of people.
There's a lot of people, and the sad thing is, like, a lot of people we know or people we know, like, we're all similar ages, and there's still people like, and I'm not saying we're better than anyone, but I feel like we probably progressed quite late. I mean, because we're sitting here talking about we had issues until a certain age, in mid-20s.
I think we're both 25.
People did mature and grow up before us, but we did at some point, and obviously come through something quite bad. But there's still people at our age that do things like that, and it's like,
of course.
See if you've got something you're proud of or something, like, fucking show it, do you know?
Of course, man.
Like, obviously we're fucking proud of this stuff, but it's not all fucking roses. Like,
this is like, you're sitting there talking about stuff that
I've not told many people that.
Aye, but it could, but it's like you could be embarrassed about it, obviously, because you're sitting there talking about
your weaknesses.
Aye, and like, and sorry, I've got a pure bad cough now, but that's what open water swimming does to you in the rain. But yeah, you're sitting there talking about stuff that you might not be proud of, or you definitely aren't proud of, and I'm doing the same and that, and it's like, but it's like, I know for a fact this stuff helps people because it's my job, and people tell me, people say, see that thing you posted, that fucking really helped me, or that was really inspiring, or that video I done. People would message me I've never heard of, generally people that I've never heard of in my life, would message me and tell me that that's really helped them, give them a kick up the arse to either stop drinking, get to the gym, or just change a wee thing in their life.
Changing the smallest thing, like,
and they're not even asking, like, they're not. There's nothing about signing up to come and train with me or anything. But that doesn't matter. That's not what it's for. It's for that reason that it can influence people to make a change to better their life. And that's amazing, man. And this is why, you're doing this now, but I do this on a weekly basis, and all my posts, to an extent, are at risk of people saying, this guy's a fucking dick. Like, he's constantly preaching, or he's this and that, but it's literally just like, well, listen to what we're talking about, how we used to be like. The way we're doing stuff now, I, for one, like, need people to know that it's better. You're better off without that shit, man.
It's not a high horse. Like, if it was a high horse, you would be preaching, or like saying you're better than other people, or by the end of the day, if you're inviting people to come along, and whether it's in person to train with you, speak to you, people can watch the podcast episode, they can listen to it, like, you're putting all that out there, you're being open and honest and translucent with people, and they've got the option to, like, listen to that and take from it what they want or what they will. If people want to be negative and just don't watch, don't listen. Like,
yeah, totally.
There's so much of that in society these days, and it doesn't help the things we're talking about, like people, maybe mental health issues, people with drink problems. Sorry, I was really far away there. Like, in this day and age, like, people are starting to kind of become more aware and be more positive and productive and, like, do their own thing, and it's a great thing to have these tools, like, readily available to help.
This is it, man.
Like,
this is not something that obviously is of any benefit other than helping people, because it takes hours to record, it takes hours to edit, and then it takes time to upload and sort. But that's cool, because I don't care, because I know that it could be influencing people. It's good to get some shit off your chest, man, as well, a lot of the time. How hard did you find staying sober at the start, obviously, and did you hibernate to get away from it all?
Do you know, it's really kind of hard to remember. Like, I know it sounds dumb, but obviously, like, starting drinking at 14, up until that point, I was only 14 years of my life, which is hard to remember that. But then being drunk for, like, the best part of a decade, like, the last 7 years has been, like, pretty much some of the only stuff I can remember from my whole life. But when I first stopped, like, I remember the Wednesday morning waking up after spilling it all out on the Tuesday night to my mum, and, like, I couldn't stand up. Like, my body was so dehydrated, my muscles were non-existent. Like,
you probably didn't eat, I was going to say, for like 4 or 5 days.
Probably ate, like, I don't even know, handful of chips, like, once every couple of days, 3 days or something. But even then, like, I did feel just so down and so embarrassed, like, even then, because I knew there was still stuff I had to do and stuff I had to face, and what was going to, and I think that's maybe why I put it off for so long. It's the impending doom of the consequences of what you've done. So I had to go into a meeting with my work on the Friday, and I had to actually use my mum as a crutch, because I was that, I still couldn't walk, like, 3 days later. And then obviously I started back work, like, the Monday after that, and I knew that I'd then have a meeting. The sad thing being, like, the meeting wasn't for a month. I didn't get sacked until...
I remember that. I was ongoing, wasn't it? Because you were like, I don't know if I'm going to lose it.
Well, the last time I drank was my first sober day, the Wednesday, was the 14th of July 2010. And I didn't have my meeting until, like, the end of August. I can't remember if I went to Leeds that year. No, I did go to Leeds that year.
Was it 2010?
2010.
Because I was there, remember?
Aye. But
obviously I was at my nut.
I think I went to Leeds. I'm not 100%.
I think you didn't, because you're not like Andy, and you were staying in a hotel.
Aye.
Because we were all camping. Aye. We were all camping wrecked. And I knew you had stopped drinking.
Aye. My meeting was literally just before then, so, like, a good 5-6 weeks after I'd stopped drinking was when my big meeting was. And in that time, obviously I changed myself around. I was smarter dressed, smelling better off money-wise, wasn't letting people down. Like, just the little stuff that makes such a difference when you actually realise. Like,
most of all, a clear head.
Aye.
For the first time in
going to work, doing my job, like, helping people, and, like, obviously my part was fucking shit.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm like... But, like, I remember...
Best part ever?
I remember I never got a certificate, right, because it wasn't school. But I remember in my job, I get nominated as the best, like,
Part merchant.
customer service. Like, whatever my job title was, right, I would deal with people's, like, state pensions and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was actually, like, the best in the whole building of, like, 1,000, 2,000 people. And then I ended up getting sacked, right? And I remember getting escorted off the premises. And I knew it was going to happen, it's just a case of when. But I feel like that I could have went back to where I was at that point in time. But soon after that, like, I really started taking photography more seriously. I'd been shooting for like 3 years. And obviously, I could tell what I was doing because I wasn't pissed and waving.
Did you not get steaming one time in the park and leave you all your camera shit in the park or on the bus or something?
On the bus.
Pure expensive camera shit.
I'll get into that. But like, I started taking that a bit more serious, and like I started making money. Like, I was self-employed for like maybe a year or two. Like, I'd done like a Christmas temp job in HMV, but like, I don't think I hibernated much. I think I threw myself into the deep end because I couldn't imagine.
Did you go out?
I was out quite a lot. I would just drink loads of juice, and like a lot of the people that I hung around with at the time, like Andy Robertson, Sean Cosgrove, like all the guys in Israel, like none of them drank anyway. And a lot of people that I knew when I was younger had kind of went the kind of straight edge route, or just didn't drink at all, like Brewer and
smart choice.
a lot of these people that like I knew, and I didn't really start to get to know them properly until this point. And it was exciting for me because everything that I was so used to doing with at least a drink in me or completely hammered was almost like, it was like being drunk for the first time. I remember going to work not with a hangover, going to the post office to post a band t-shirt. And for me, like the
gigs,
band,
man,
playing gigs,
actually watching bands, man, and actually taking it in rather than just
stuff.
being like,
I mean, I think I threw myself into the deep end definitely, like socially, and the band like started playing like not long after that, like live. We took obviously a long time to kind of get our sound and whatever, but playing a gig for the first time since I was maybe like 18, at the age of 24, 25, in front of like hundreds of people, was just mind blowing. Like,
I've done that as well. I didn't play a gig
aye,
for fucking years sober, and then I played the gig at Tuts, and it was mental, man.
it's just, I mean, I think I
felt
threw
in
myself
control.
in, and that was the only way for me I could do it. If I stayed out the way, I think I would have either got really down or maybe like really pushed myself to the limit where I maybe would have just like tried it again.
But this is the thing, mate. Like, I've had conversations with people who know they have an issue, and they're asking me like, I think people think you generally can't have fun if you're not drinking. Not everybody, but some people do think that, mate. And they're literally going, I mean, but what do you do? And I'm like, I go out just like normal people. I just don't drink anymore. But I actually have a better time. Well, I say that, but
you have a more responsible time.
aye, but it's better in the sense that, see, every time you go home and you know you've not done anything daft, or you know you've not spent all your money, and you're not eating a doner kebab and your fucking face with garlic mayo and all that, like, you know you've made the right choice, like. But it's like, people genuinely think that they'll not have anything to do, they'll be bored, they'll be in the house all the time. But like, I go out quite a lot and I enjoy myself. Sometimes I don't, I go home early, but a lot of the time, yeah, it's a good night, obviously depending on who you're out with. I'll go to a lot of gigs. I still go to football every week, and I still go to the pub before the football. I just have a Diet Coke or a Beck's Blue, and but I'm a better person. I can have better conversations with people. So there's all those benefits of doing that. But I think people are scared, man, to not drink because everybody does it, and they'll be left out.
This is it.
But you don't need to.
I mean, it's obviously down to socialising, like, on a whole. And again, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people say Scotland's bad for drink. This is it. Ireland gets it a lot. I mean, it's just stereotyping or whatever, I don't know. I mean, no one goes around the world to every country and sees what the drinking habits are of the general public. But I think, like,
we get a bad rap, don't we?
Being from Scotland, like, I don't want to say the majority of people, because I say that quite a lot about things, and people kind of be like, you can't say that about the majority of people. But I think traditionally, like, from my point of view and what I've witnessed, like, people go through school, they experiment, they go to college or university, they experiment some more, sometimes worse. But people like having fun, especially in cities. Like maybe it's just the central belt where people move to the city to study, and they're surrounded by all these lights and bars and 2-for-1s and happy hour, unhappy hour. Like I don't believe that there's nothing else to do, but I think people genuinely think that, and again, it's another crutch metaphor. Like there's nothing else to do. There is,
Of course, man.
and again, it's a shame for maybe people that have maybe a worse off background, or they're brought up in a deprived area, or they're deprived at home, like maybe money wise or like attention wise, and people can turn to like substances really early because they're maybe easily influenced, or they're trusting in someone that maybe they shouldn't, and maybe they're into those habits, and then they pick them up and whatever. But I think anyone can kind of get into that trap, and if you drink, I mean, I don't think everyone could become an alcoholic. I think there is something somewhere. I don't like reading up about it too much because I think I would obsess over it, which might not be a bad thing because it'd be more information to maybe help people. But I think generally that there is stuff to do. There is stuff, you can still have fun. It's not like you're changing your life. Like people maybe work Monday to Friday and go absolutely mad for the weekend, but just do the things you do.
All you need to do is look at us two, and all we did was get pissed and go out. Whereas now, how busy we both are with stuff that we do. We're always fucking busy. Hence why we never see each other, because we're always busy.
Aye.
And it's like, if there was nothing to do, we'd
be lying in our pants playing PlayStation. But you get older and stuff changes. Like
totally, man. There's so much. Like Scotland's fucking great. Like there's so many places to go and things to do, and like I went jet skiing for my 30th because I didn't want to just go into town and go to the pub, which I would have done if I was still drinking. Like I went jet skiing and it was absolutely amazing, man.
Again, like that's such a like,
I would never have done that.
Not a normal thing to do, but that's not that crazy. But people would maybe think jet skiing.
That's Eddie's reaction. What are you doing for your birthday? I'm going jet skiing.
Aye.
What? Are you going jet skiing?
Like
Why?
even like, I mean, I'm not married yet, but even thinking about, like, my brother had a stag do recently before he got married, and like try to come up with ideas for that, and like it made me think about my stag do and what I would want to do, and like outdoorsy stuff is what I'm into and I like doing now, and it's a challenge and it's good for your fitness and whatever. But like some people genuinely think like Ben Nevis, does that not take like 10 hours to get to? And that sounds like the biggest waste of time ever. It's like, excuse me, like it's not that. I mean, even like Loch Lomond, there's still some good hills there.
Of course, man. Aye. But there's
30 minutes in a car.
There's actual like open water you can just jump in and like,
like
have a swim and shit.
It's on for so long. Obviously, when you
take
first
a bike,
get there,
like
take a bike.
Shit, man.
Even if you do drink and you.
But
like,
these are all things that like people go, aye, but that's shite. But see if they actually done it, they'd fucking love it.
I mean, I know people go camping and drinking stuff, and maybe just
maybe
that's
would
still
love
cool.
it,
but there's just so much to do, and like I think we've maybe proved that to ourselves, and like we have went on to do things that we wouldn't have ever been able to do if we were still drinking. You wouldn't be in shape telling people how to get in shape. I wouldn't be like documenting things like through like photos and video, because there's that many times I turned up to the photo shoots and I just couldn't even stand. Like I remember the one time, like Stephen McCrory's old band, they went through so many like different changes and like name changes, and at this point I think they were called Voom Club, and I remember turning up to shoot them, and they're like, oh, how much do you want? And I was like, just get me 2 bottles of Strongbow. And I was already drunk, and it was a total waste of time.
Sake.
I don't even think the photos were usable or got used. And again, that's people travelling from like further away to come and get their photo taken, and I'm just treating it like a big party.
You're doing yourself a disservice though, because you know you're better than that.
And again, that could have
that
could have ended that there.
Proved it, aye.
But I think definitely you can still have fun. You can still do like anything you want to do. I mean, who would choose to spew in a street? Who would choose to like spend 10 quid in rubbish food, which we still do now and then, but at least we're sober and we know what we're doing. But all the stuff you do when you're drunk, you wouldn't choose to do that. If someone said, oh, do you want to feel like shit tomorrow morning? Aye, definitely, mate. No, you don't.
I know.
And I think that there's probably way more people than we think, and there's probably people out there that don't even realise that they've got a problem, but see, if any of this strikes a chord with anybody, then hopefully it maybe makes them think, and it's not trying to take the fun out of everything, like...
It's not, it's just speaking from personal experience about how we both feel it's enhanced our lives, so the better.
Definitely.
So...
Camera 2.
We're back on... What's the deal with GoPros and these battery lives, man? I mean, that was so much money, and then it lasted, an hour and a bit there? It's a bit disappointing, not gonna lie.
I know. Just send some free batteries, GoPro.
Oh, you could do that, eh? Getting extra batteries.
Nah, of course.
Never thought about that.
It's not just like, use your battery, it cuts out and that's it, dead forever.
Oops. Right, okay, so what I want to ask and get into is something that's really important on this, because people who are thinking of maybe thinking to themselves, this isn't for me, it's ruining my life, it's affecting me in ways that I don't like, but I don't know how to spend my time or what will happen if I stop. But like the benefits of no drinking is just there's fucking
endless.
So many. Like for me, it's probably
obviously
energy wise, because that's how I ended up being successful in the gym and losing weight for good, because I had energy to continue to train. Weekends, I could go out on a Saturday night, get a decent sleep, no drink, and train on the Sunday, whereas I would never ever have trained on a Sunday if I'd been drinking. Probably wouldn't have trained 3 or 4 days a week if I'd been drinking at all. I used to go to the gym, but I didn't have any energy, and I was drinking 3-4 days a week and hungover a couple of those days, so it was never going to work. So there's that. Just a clear head, mental health, but they're the main ones for me.
I think like,
for you, what do you think is the, like, since you stopped drinking, the
there's
main
loads.
benefits?
Generally,
could probably hear all night talking about that in particular.
Aye, I mean, like, people that are maybe feeling like, what is the benefits? Like, why should I stop? I know I should stop, but what's actually going to change? Like, I think to put it generally, like, everything bad that comes with drinking, the hangover, the pain, your body starts to hurt the older you get, all that shit goes away, unless there's other stuff causing it. So when you stop drinking, like, you can do anything. Like, you're not going to be late unless you're a late person, so that's something you can fix yourself. There's things in life where you maybe do have, like, traits and bad things that you do and whatever, but drink's not an excuse. So if you stop drinking and you're lazy, at least you know that it's just you being lazy, so it's easier to say, I'm going to kick myself up the arse.
That's your own fault,
you know,
because you're in control.
It's not like, oh, I was pissed. I mean, people say that's not an excuse. It is. When you're pissed,
it's your fault or whoever's fault for getting pissed, but at the same time,
while you are pissed, like, and again, I come back to the whole other substancey stuff. Like, I've tried stuff, and there's a few things I've tried sober, so I wasn't drunk, and I've tried them, and I can hands down say that any drug that I've tried, alcohol is the worst. Like, there's no drug that I've taken where I wake up and forget stuff. There's a few times where I've tried stuff and, like, woke up and thought that was a crazy, crazy night. I would never do that again. But I can remember everything that happened. Yeah. But there's so many years I can't remember because of drink.
And just like when we were drinking to the volumes that we were, just so out of control, man. Like, a lot of the stuff we done, there's no fucking way we would have done that if we were sober.
Nah.
No, and again, it's excuses and all that, but but that again, it's a benefit because we don't drink anymore, so we don't do shit. Happen. We don't do shit that we know we shouldn't do.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm not saying we're fucking perfect angels, but
I mean, there's stuff that happens in life, like relationships.
Well, put it this way: if you let down your family the way, or even remotely close to the way you used to when you drank, since you stopped drinking,
I wouldn't have a family.
Exactly.
I wouldn't even have my own.
And like, that in itself,
family. Never mind my family with Lindsay and the kids. Like,
and that in itself is.
It's devastating.
But at the same time, it's amazing. Because you're not going to do that.
Exactly. It would be devastating, and I think the pluses of obviously being sober, like you mentioned, the physical side of it. Like, I've tried a couple of times to lose weight, and I've kept a lot of weight since I drank. When I stopped drinking, I started replacing, like, all the carbs and the sugar that I was getting through alcohol. I started replacing that with, like, sweets and junk food, ice cream, juice, and like. I was probably intaking more through that than I was ever with alcohol. Yeah. Because when I was drinking, I wasn't eating. So I put on quite a bit of weight when I stopped drinking. It kind of got me down a bit, but I knew that it's not the booze. Like, maybe the booze got you quite chunky. while you were drinking, but I knew, and I still know, that there's still weight I need to lose, but I know that it's down to me, so if I don't do it, I've got nothing else to blame. I can just say to myself, right, once the time comes, you will do it, or if you get the time to do it, because I've got a busy life, and I feel like I'm still not happy with certain things, but I know that it's only me that can change it.
Of course, man.
But the benefits...
Money, like
focus.
think about all that. I don't know how much that camera cost, but man, like all that stuff for your work. Like if you're rattling all your money on bevy every weekend, like I mean, I'm still paying off some debt from when I was drunk. That was fucking
credit
5 years ago, man.
It hurts to have to like pay shit like that back, and time you can never get back. But
because I used to live off credit cards because I'd spend all my money.
Your wages would disappear.
And going out and drinking and casinos and all the rest of it. And I'd buy my shopping and my essentials to stay alive on a credit card because there's no money left in the bank 2 weeks into the month or a week into the month. You know?
It's ridiculous. And even now, like, I mean, I'm still like that these days, but it's not booze, it's productive stuff.
You're buying
a mortgage.
You're probably buying healthy food
food for the kids,
mortgage, stuff for your family, holidays.
Car.
I never went on a holiday. One, because I didn't trust myself being abroad with my pals like you. Me and you abroad? No way, man. Like drinking.
Jail. Spanish jail.
Or worse, you know what I mean? Like but that's the reality of it, mate. I was like, I would end up hurting myself, man, because I'd be like on holiday, probably get even more
take
pissed.
It even further than
exactly.
usual. Again, the climate, it's warm.
Aye. But plus I never had the money. I stopped drinking. Within that first year, I'd saved up to go to Florida for 3 weeks.
Which is life-changing.
That was the best holiday ever, man. And I would never have done that if I didn't stop drinking. No way.
There's so many differences, like overall health, mentally, physically. Like mentally, I don't sit and think, oh my God, I'm actually having a heart attack because I've woke up hungover.
Clear head, man, like to attack the day,
Aye.
go into work in a better frame of mind, to perform your job better. Like,
do my job better. The job I do just now, quite a serious job, and the things that I do and say can affect somebody else's life who's vulnerable and needs help. So I'm proud of what I do now, and I mean, there's a lot of people that probably lose their jobs or don't get the promotion that they want, or are too scared to go for stuff like that. I mean, not saying that will change when you stop drinking, but it puts a focus on, and you know, if you want something, go for it. Not everything turns out, but at least you know if something's in reach, go for it. If it needs more work, put the focus in and the time in. You're not going to get fucking bummed about it and go drink a bottle of whiskey. Like,
I spent 5 years of my life moaning about my job and hating it and going, I hate this and blah 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 blah, and I didn't do one thing about it because I was living to get to the weekend to get rest.
Just working to live.
Or drinking through the week and
going into work
with going into work with no, like with half asleep and just wanting to get the day done to go home and go to bed or get a fucking pizza or whatever or go to the pub again. But as soon as I stopped drinking, right away I've done a CV and applied for jobs and I got a job because I tried to get one. Like,
you believe in yourself, Paul?
Believed in myself, but I literally just had the confidence, but just the clear head and the energy to actually do something.
Even itself, though, like that gives you confidence. Like, not that you're instantly this perfect human being, and like, I feel more confident myself knowing that there is no excuse. If I do something wrong, I can apologise for it, or I can be stubborn about it. But like, you know that you would never do anything obscene and out of character like you would when you drink, because you could end up in jail. You could end up like, worse things could happen, like, and you would never know. Like, you wouldn't remember doing the thing that got you there.
Well, yeah, totally, man. I was in the jail cells 4 times. Just through being an idiot.
Just really
Nothing
silly
bad.
stuff.
Like, I didn't do it. I didn't hurt MD. I didn't hurt MD but myself. But that was just all through being fucking.
Luckily,
idiot.
I escaped that because now I've got a decent job. But stuff like that is so simple. It's so easy to get like a bit out of hand, and then the wrong person walks by, and then you're done for a breach of the peace, or
you're just like
drunk and disorderly and stuff.
Or just like, or literally just like on your own, passed out on the fucking road.
Because you're not hurting anyone else, but you're doing stupid stuff in public, and I think it's stuff like that is very serious as well, and it can shape the rest of your life. And luckily, it hasn't for you, it hasn't for me.
Exactly,
but,
man.
No, I'd say that to cut it a long story short, the benefits pretty much everything. Everything that comes with booze that's bad, that goes away, obviously.
Of course. The only drawback is probably if you're at a night out, a stag do, whatever, that initial probably hour or two where the night's just starting, and everybody's getting the cold pints and all the rest of it, and you're like,
it's hard.
I would love that right now, or I just want to be able to have a few drinks with my mates, or at a football match or something when we're on the pub before it.
That's the only negative.
That's the only bad thing, but that passes.
Is that you wish that you could do it and not take it to the extreme, but at the end of the day, it's not worth it anyway. Because
there's another question I hadn't even planned, right? But this is quite an important question, because I'm pretty certain people will ask you this quite regularly, and definitely I get it regularly. With the type of person that you are now, and the mindset that you have, and you're a goal getter, kind of you're always doing shit and getting shit done. Like, do you think? What's your opinion on? Why couldn't you have a few
controlled relapse?
Aye, or surely because you don't drink it for so long and you know how good it is, you wouldn't do it, so you just have a few pints. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
In theory, probably should, but I think. And again, people probably say it's over dramatic. They did at the time, but I think once you're an alcoholic, you're an alcoholic. Like, I love booze. Aye. 7 years on, drinking that Heineken, 0%. Like,
dude, it's an addiction. It's an addiction.
The taste is there, the feeling's not there. I still get a wee kick in my face, like that way when you get like tipsy for the first time. I still get that when I drink them, and it's good to give myself that physical reminder. But it's a reminder that I would never drink again, because see if I drank an actual pint of beer or anything, I genuinely think the whole 7 years past would just go right out the window. It'd just be like,
I thought it's exactly.
Let's fucking go.
We didn't stop drinking because we wanted to, or because somebody told us to. We stopped because we had to, and I don't think that addiction that we had. Yeah, okay, we weren't drinking every day of the week. We weren't waking up and drinking as soon as we woke up. Well, 7 days a week, some days. But that doesn't mean there wasn't an addiction.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean there wasn't a problem, because look at our fucking lives back then. You lost your job. I fucking almost lost my job so many times and lost a lot of other things, and it was impacting and ruining both our lives. That's a problem, right? That's an addiction, and that doesn't go away because for 5 years for me, 6 years for you, you've not done it. 7 years, you've not done it. So I think if either of us went to the pub and had a pint, I think as soon as we started drinking, we would just be like, fuck it. We'd go nuts, man.
It'd be like Pulp Fiction. It'd be like a shot of,
and I couldn't be trained.
Like adrenaline to the heart. I would just go mad, and that's when I know that I would never ever do it again. Like, even if I thought I could control
you can't risk it, man.
There's no chance. And even if I was
too much
single with no kids, which I'm not, I still would never ever do that and jeopardise.
Do I go back
anything.
To the person you were before? Do you?
Exactly.
And I certainly don't. And I'm sure you don't. So, it's quite a fucking serious question next, man. Because obviously you've got a fucking child now, a boy that you probably look at every day and can't imagine your life without, man. So, do you think that if you had kept drinking, one, you would have got together with your partner Lindsay, who you're going to marry, and then kept her? Because obviously you probably could have got a girlfriend, or you had girlfriends, but keeping them was probably the problem when you were drinking. And obviously then you've had your son. Do you think those things would have happened if you continued to drink when you stopped?
Nah, like hands down, no. Like I think like if I'd met Lindsay, like I'm not a firm believer in fate and all the rest of it. It's such a hard thing to say exists and doesn't. Like many things, like stuff happens, great. It's really just how it is, I guess. There's no way to prove either or. Yeah. But I think like even if I hadn't stopped drinking, I probably wouldn't have been in my band. I wouldn't have been out flying the night I met her. Like, but say I had met her.
If you were pissed.
I mean the circumstances, like Lindsay had a kid, just turning 2 when I met her, Daisy, my stepdaughter. And there's no way I would have felt responsible enough
Yeah,
to
totally.
even pursue trying to look after a child and like almost fit into like a role model position
Yeah.
for a child that's like not vulnerable but naive, like to pick up habits and stuff, and like the way I would probably act. I mean, I was never an aggressive drunk. I wasn't really in relationships when I drank, so I don't even know how I would have been in that situation. But there's no way like her or anybody would have like stood for just the sheer lack of like care and respect for myself, and because I was never nasty to other people. It affected other people, but not in a nasty, like spiteful, aggressive way. It was just a selfishness and
upsetting folk
aye.
a little bit.
But I don't think any of that would have happened. I think if I had a child when I was drinking, I don't think it would have been in the right setting. I don't think it would have been meeting someone in a relationship, have a kid. It would maybe have happened in a not so straightforward way, which wouldn't have been like, it would have either have made me go worse and think, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
But in the same token, it could have calmed you down as well, but I don't think it would have if it was in that kind of situation. Yeah. But I don't think any of this would have happened if I was still drinking, like, no way.
Oh man, like that's black and white to say that, you know, thank fuck you did then, man, do you know what I mean?
I just don't think when people have a problem like that and want to start a family, like, it can be a game breaker, it can, a deal breaker even, whatever the saying is, but like some people, I mean, especially at this age, there's so many people around us having kids, getting engaged, getting married, starting their own businesses, being really successful in their kind of field, and like it's a serious age, like your 20s and stuff. A lot of people do grow up and go on to do what they're going to do for the rest of their life, or work towards something even bigger. But I think even sitting here at 31, like I don't feel the past 7 years has been like that long a time. It's flown by, and I think it's because everything's been really good, and like
you've been living a better quality life.
So much has happened. Like I feel better, I feel healthier. I know that if I feel unhealthy, it's probably my diet, and that's my choice.
I should have thrown the house into that as well, because you've got a house.
Well, I bought a house, sold a house, bought a new house on the coast. Got a stepdaughter, got a son. Photography's still a major part of my life, hobby-wise as well. Like, as well as like it's a side career as well, as on top of what I do, like for a living as well. But none of this would be happening. No way. It would have finished a long time ago. The camera would have been sold for a couple of nights out.
Yep.
Like, I just like thankful for what I've got. Thankful that I stopped when I did, because stuff could have changed drastically if I had maybe left it a wee bit longer. But no, I don't think I would have met her or even had a chance of keeping someone like her.
Totally.
If I was still drinking.
It's the same for myself. With the life I have at the moment, and leading such a fucking kind of active life and doing a job that I love and helping people, there's obviously I'm not going to do that if I was still drinking. So again, it's not to sit here and say that we're this and we're that, but it's just to say to people,
this is an example.
Look at the fucking potential that you had and what I had, but
we didn't know it.
But we didn't know it, not at all.
Probably no one knew it.
I didn't know I was capable of doing triathlons. I didn't know I was capable of lifting heavy weights and changing my body. You didn't know how talented you could be in your field of photography and videography and being a father and all the rest of it.
Well, even like, I mean, just now, like I started a blog. One of my best mates, Tristan, who I only met.
Punt it out. What's the
3 years ago?
Address in that?
Like North, it's called. So it's basically like documenting Scotland and further. Yeah. Tristan's done a lot of stuff. He's done Everest. He's done Peru, California. He's looking to do some stuff even further afield, and like we just want to like create visuals for companies to use to help promote the kind of lifestyle that we like, the outdoors and stuff. And he was a professional athlete for years, played ice hockey. So for me, going out and try to like conquer Munros in Scotland, like they're difficult. I mean, even the fittest people that I know have tried, and even that still was difficult for them. But if I was still drinking, trying to do stuff like that, it wouldn't formulate into anything. It would just be another idea that you would try and do. I wouldn't be able to keep up physically. The photos wouldn't be done as well. The focus of the brand wouldn't be there. And it's none of it is feasible.
It's just all about people. It really upsets me and really gets to me when I see friends or clients or even people that I don't really know just not showing potential when you know they've got it. Maybe you know somebody who's talented in a certain thing, but they're not doing it to the extent they should be because there's maybe an underlying issue.
It's cliched sounding, but you hear people in power, not like politicians and stuff, but people maybe like famous rappers, famous musicians, famous actors that stand because they have a voice, because they've got following.
Yeah.
People will listen and take influence from them. And it sounds cliched, but like you're saying, even if you see people that you don't really know and you see they've got a kind of wee flair for something and you're like, you can do whatever you want. Like, not everyone in this world is going to be successful or rich or both. Whatever you think is more important. Not everyone will get to that stage, but as long as you try your best, enjoy what you're doing, possibly make a living off it, or at least some stuff on the side, then you've won your own kind of race, you know. And
totally. But the thing is, and I used to be someone who the words that came out of my mouth was, I wish I could do that. I wish I could look like that. I wish I could wear that fucking tight t-shirt. I wish, or I can't do that. I can't do that. I wish I could play football again. All those things I thought I couldn't do. Fucking could do them. I was just choosing to live a lifestyle that didn't enable me to do them.
Just impacted everything else.
Change the lifestyle, and I'm doing all that stuff, and I love it more than I ever would love that moment of enjoying getting bevied with all the negative side effects. And it's like, yeah, it's like people can be whatever they want to be. We live in a day and age where you can make a living off YouTube if you want, like
anything. I mean, even
you could do anything, like the technology and the internet, apps and everything that is available, like that's out there. If you put enough time and dedication and just put everything you have into it, then if you're passionate about something, you're probably going to do well at it. And as you say, it might not be your sole job or whatever, but if you're at least doing it on the side, then
and even if you don't make money off it, if you enjoy it and it's worthwhile to you, then
you're spending your time productively and doing something that makes you happy rather than doing something that destroys you. And if you are going down a way of you drink too much or whatever else, obviously we're talking about alcohol today, that you're never going to have that time, clear mind and effort to do that thing. And
it's a dangerous game, because if you get into that mindset, the times where you could be doing that stuff, you're going to fill with something else because you're bored and you don't want to attempt to do that, so you're going to end up going back to, I'll just have a wee drink.
Aye.
And there's nothing wrong with people. I mean, there's absolutely nothing here to say that drink is the devil. Like, to us it was, and
well, it kind of is, man, but
it is if you treat it like that. I mean, there's some people that can drink in moderation, and that's fine if you want to do that, but if you've got a problem or you feel a problem coming on, you need to make that choice.
Of course, man, there's absolutely nothing, there's obviously nothing wrong with people socially drinking, because it's fucking good fun and it tastes nice, but as soon as that changes from social drinking to getting mad bit and
it affects your actual
spending all your money and affecting your personality and your life, then that's different. So you stopped drinking that year, and I didn't. I kept going, and it must have been about 2 years, maybe. What, you're 7 years now?
7.
Okay, so I'm 5, so 2 years. And I remember you still hanging about with me at times when I was still bevying. So, what was your thoughts looking at me because I remember one particular time vividly when I was off work for a week or something like that, and I literally spent the whole week in James Watt Street flat getting wrecked all day. And I think you were there for a couple of days for some reason. I can't remember why you're choosing to hang about with me when I was literally drinking non-stop, but
I don't
you were
remember
there.
judging you.
Like, what was your
much.
actual opinion, like, in thinking, were you worried, or were you like...
I think deep down, like, I knew you had a problem, obviously. But again, it wasn't until you stopped I kind of realised, as much as we spent so much time together and drank together, more importantly, like, because you managed to get up and go to work so many times, I knew you had a problem. But to me, I thought you still had something in you that made you do what you had to do. Yeah. Even though it didn't really make much difference, because you would still be drinking as much and you would still not go to work a lot of the time.
Oh, there's so many times I didn't go to work as well.
And I just think, like, I kind of always felt that you would stop eventually, because I knew that, again, there was potential there musically. Like, obviously training and stuff wasn't really a part of it at that point at all. But I just kind of, I don't think I thought you would stop, but it didn't surprise me when you did. So I think subconsciously I knew that you would end up following that same kind of path. And but no, I don't think I ever really was, not condescending. Like, obviously I could have stood there and been like, you need to stop this, you've got an issue. But I didn't really feel that comfortable about saying things like that to people, especially people that I knew.
It's a hard thing.
It's hard because you don't want to sound like a preacher, and you don't want to sound like, I know when I was stopping, or before I had intentions to stop, if there was someone around me like that, it probably would have like kind of like immaturely pushed me into doing it more, like to rebel against, like, oh fuck you, I don't have a problem. Yeah. And then just drinking even heavier to kind of prove to myself I didn't.
Probably right. Yeah.
Which in turn makes it worse. But no, I think I always kind of, in the thinking about it now, it didn't really surprise me. I think you were smart enough to know, and we did talk about it a lot.
I remember the weekend that I stopped, you talked about what happened that weekend with you. Mine was kind of similar, just not as bad in the work sense, because it was a bank holiday, thank fuck, so the Monday didn't count anyway. But
just get more steaming in the Monday.
Aye, it was, I'd been going through it was a really bad year, like, drink wise, because I had a time the previous year when I stopped for 5 weeks, which was fucking insane for me at that time. And unfortunately my birthday came at that point, and I just couldn't go through my birthday without drinking, and then that was me back into the routine of doing it all
Probably
the time.
Worse,
and it was though.
You're,
you're right, mate. It fucking was, man. And it was the worst. The last year of my drinking was the worst. I'd probably say, well, I say the worst, but you weren't involved, so it couldn't have been that bad.
Aye.
But it was.
You probably just had to drink too.
I probably was, man. But it was one of the worst. Like, it was getting so bad, to the point where I was just so fucking unhappy. I was the heaviest I'd ever been. I kept falling out with my dad and losing him for a few weeks, and then he'd forgive me, and then the same thing would happen again. And oh man, I just did not like who I was, but I just couldn't stop drinking, because, as I said earlier, that was what was making me happy.
The the most important thing, because it's like, it's making you happy and sad, but there's that wee glimmer of happiness that just...
That's it. It's just that hour, those few hours when you start drinking to when, before you black out basically, and you're having a fucking great time, do you know what I mean? And it was getting pretty bad, but it got to a point where I was with a girl at this point, we'd been out for maybe 6 months or something, and I did really care about the girl, but it was a Thursday night. I went out drinking after work, and then I had a few hours sleep. I went into work on the Friday, and I was meant to go to my girlfriend at the time's flat after work to have like a quiet weekend basically, and I says I was going for a few pints after work with just one of the guys in the branch at the time. So it was nothing more than that. I worked in Hamilton, and I ended up drinking in Hamilton all night, turned my phone off and all that, so I wasn't getting texts asking where I was.
No doubt.
Ended up in Lark Hall, in some random pub in Lark Hall, because the guy who worked lived there. I hardly knew this guy. He was about 20, 30 years older than me, but because he was drinking and I didn't want to go and facing music for my girlfriend at the time. I was like, I'm coming with you, mate. Where you going? He's like, I'm going to Cult meet my mates. And I was like, I'm fucking coming. So I went, drank until closing that pub or till the last train, and got the train into town and went out, met folk, whoever was in town, went out. That was a Friday. Then drinking all day on the Saturday, and went to a party on the Saturday night. Absolutely fucking bluttered, man. Still had contacted the girlfriend. Fell out with my dad again due to the Saturday. I let him down over something, and that carried on to the Sunday. I stayed over at the party on the Saturday night. Woke up on the Sunday, went into the fridge, found a bottle of wine, started drinking that. Still not contacted the girlfriend at this point. She's phoning everybody. Maybe obviously worried, but I was just a selfish dick at this point, and was drinking. Went out with my friends. He wasn't even drinking. I just sat there and fucking drank all day, and he wasn't even drinking. What contacted him? He was like, right, mate, you need to go. Basically, I went out back home. I've contacted a few people. Just as you said, you're just looking for people to drink with, man. Found a few people, got them round to the flat, drinking all night. Went to the classic Grand Sunday night. Out my nut, drinking on the Monday because it was a bank holiday. I was drinking on the Monday, and then I'd obviously by this point totally fucked things up with the family and then the girlfriend. And my God, man, see that Tuesday I was in work, and that was it. That was it, man. I said I'd never felt that bad, like physically, mentally. I was thinking things I fucking hadn't thought before, and that I never thought that I would ever enter my mind. But I was feeling so low. I just felt the fucking worst I've ever felt, probably, and I said to myself, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it, because I'm going to end up really doing myself in, and I don't want that. I didn't want that, and I told myself, I says, I'm never drinking again. And I've not drank since that Monday. But I remember meeting you because I was going to Slam Dunk like 2 weekends later.
I remember you kind of.
And I was like, how the fuck?
How am I going to do this?
I was like, I can't
I think
not
you actually
go.
thought about not going.
I obviously did, but I was
really
like, the starting line are playing, I need to go. And I was like, I've paid a lot of money. There's so many good bands, I need to go, but how the hell am I going to not drink? But I knew I didn't want to. So I was like, John.
I knew this would be the first hurdle, though, and if you got over that, that would be it.
But I remember meeting up with you and talking to you, and you were just like telling me about how much better everything was, and just about how you'd improved your life, basically. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm fucking doing this. I'm gonna really do it. And I did. I got through that weekend. Got through my birthday without drinking that year, and then my dad died, and then.
And that's probably the biggest.
That was it, man. That's what kept me off it, man.
But again, that in the same way could have been the biggest.
Oh, I definitely. I almost went to the shop.
I
said it, and I was talking about it in a previous podcast. I did. My first thought was, I need to get fucked. I can't fucking deal with this.
And I think obviously
thank fucking never, man.
That's the worst thing, right, to happen, obviously. But I think you stopping before that was
fucking, you're talking about fate and that, right? And I know it's not, but if there's anything close to fate, it's got to be that.
In a selfish way, just talking about your drinking, not talking about death as like in a positive way. But I think you stopping at that exact moment in time is the only positive for that whole situation, is that you didn't end up, because you could have went, if you were still drinking and that happened, that would have been fucking, there'd be no coming back for that.
Nah. I would have drank myself at a point where I couldn't physically go to work. I would have lost my job. I wouldn't have any money, and I'd fucking be, I don't know where I'd be, might not even be here, to be honest, because there would have been nothing stopping me at that point. So thank the fucking Lord that I stopped before that, because that's crazy.
And again, it's
crazy to think if I didn't.
It's another weird thing, like, because he got to see you
2 months
at the best. Like, obviously now, like, you've just kept going, but he witnessed that.
He went as the start, and
The start
as I
of the
said in
new
our
year.
podcast, he took me out on my birthday and says, "Would you want a drink?" And I says, "A Diet Coke," and he went, "You're not drinking." And I was like, "I told you, I'm off it. I'm not doing it." And he was so.
And that's probably the proudest
He
moment.
was so happy, man. He couldn't believe it, man. But ultimately, he was delighted because he knew I was I was destroying myself.
He knew that there was no more worry there about what you were doing and this and that.
He could have probably, if I was drinking that day, he would have went home and been probably went to bed worried that God, he's going to end up in
He'll be
trouble
out for
again.
the rest of the week.
So just a wee bit, you talked about your photography, man. Just like how did that all come about, and how's it going, and what's your plans for the future? Because you seem to be, you've also got your main job, but you seem to be doing a lot of shit with it, man. I don't know how you fucking have the time to do it all, to be honest, mate. But you seem to be smashing through it.
It's just, I mean, obviously now 7 years off the sauce, like you just kind of like learn to like. And again, I've seen a lot of stuff online recently about people that maybe work in like the self-employed industry of being like doing creative stuff and like putting so much time into like what they do. And again, you'll be the same, and you've obviously got a lot of physical demand in what you do personally to keep yourself in shape and to put others through it. But it's just trying to fit in as much as you can when you can. And I've learned a lot recently about having obviously the kids and stuff. You try not to put so much time into it because you want to have that personal work balance, life balance. But it's hard sometimes because you feel like if you're not working, you're not getting an opportunity, or if you're not posting a picture online, then less people are going to see it. And if you don't post, no one's seeing what you're doing. And I've kind of like, I'm quite level-headed with the whole thing. Like social media, I don't take it for granted, but I don't like to get myself too obsessed with it. Because ultimately when you create something, you put it online because you want people to then hit a like button so that people accept it and it's good. I've kind of forgot about all that stuff. Like obviously it's a great tool, platform to showcase your work. But now it's all about quality, and I think a lot of the work I'm doing with the blog mainly, it's all about the quality over like likes and stuff. I mean, I know that helps businesses see instantly how many people, when you share something, it's going to be seen by. But I think at the end of the day, now I'm creating stuff for brands that they can use on their platforms, and I'm starting to go down a route where I'm working with big clients, getting proper paid jobs, and I'm still keeping like they're still letting me run creatively to do what I want. There's like maybe a kind of guideline, but I think I'm at the best point I've been at, and I know it's been progressing for 7 years since I stopped drinking, but there has been ups and downs. But just now I just feel like it is really going really smooth, and obviously continuing to not drink is obviously a bonus as well. But
can you see yourself trying to push in the future to make it something that you do for a living?
Possibly. I mean, I've been kind of thinking about that recently and talking about it with a couple of people, and I think I had planned before I'm 40, which is 9 years, which is horrible to say. But I think it's more like 4 or 5 year plan is to be self-employed. Like
awesome, man.
Again, it comes down to like the simple fact of maybe having 1 or 2 jobs at least where you've got a contract in place where you will get paid this amount, this amount of times a year, or you'll get this fee once a year, and you'll do this in X, Y, and Z for us. And then obviously you're still freelance, so you've still got jobs coming in randomly here and there. So that's the kind of future plan, like hoping that I can self-sustain. And I mean, I like my job, but if I could be my own boss, and
but then again, that's the thing. If you're your own boss and it's all you have, then you've got so much more time to put into it to fucking make sure that you get done what you need to get done.
There's no excuse like, I was working late, so I couldn't do this when I went home. You make up your own rules, you make up your own times, you work when you can.
But you're going to be passionate about it, so you'll do what needs to be done.
And you've got the drive because you need the money you need money to live, so you need to get the money in for the mortgage, you need to get money in for food, for fuel, all the stuff. And then obviously you've got your social stuff that you like doing, or I like doing with the kids, like taking them places. And
but I mean, if you're passionate about it, you're good at it, chances are you'll be fine, mate.
No.
Go for it. Right, okay, man. It's been good, man. It's been really good, but we're approaching the end.
Apparently, there's something here that's going to surprise me. So
We're just going to play a wee game at the end, but
do I need to hide?
no, this isn't it right now, man. This is like the end of the let's call it an interview, man.
The conclusion,
Obviously,
like you would get in an essay in school.
But yeah, anyone that's listening who potentially or thinks they might have an issue with alcohol, they think that it's impacting their life in a negative way, or even ruining their life, because let's be honest, we knew it was ruining our lives before we actually stopped. So, what's your final words on the topic, man, and what would you say to somebody?
I mean, the main thing
to help them,
again,
basically.
Go back to mental health, really big topic online. Obviously, it's more than a topic being discussed online. Going back to that thing that a lot of people are saying online, no one's alone. There will be people out there that probably feel alone. There probably is people out there that don't have anyone. But because social media is a thing, you're going to have hopefully at least one person you can maybe talk to. And again, it doesn't need to be someone you know, doesn't need to be someone that you've ever met in person, like anyone at all. If they are been in the same boat, know someone that's been in the same boat, probably do, even if they don't know anything about it. I'm sure if you're in with the right people, or you've got friends that you can trust, or you can talk to them. Like, no one's going to turn you away and be like, what are you talking about? That's crazy talk. And if there is people that maybe don't understand it or get awkward talking about it, that's fine. Not everyone is going to understand it, but talk about it. Talk to a doctor about it. Yeah. Go to counselling.
I did that. I went to counselling, man.
I done counselling for a while. First 4 attempts were terrible because I didn't feel like... I didn't want to stop. I still the drinking side.
I'd already stopped.
But then I went, when I was stopping fully, I went to a counsellor, and it helped me with the anxiety side of it, all the rest of it. But there's always at least someone you can talk to.
My counselling was free, didn't cost anything.
Aye, NHS, go to see your GP through your work, occupational health. But I mean, if you don't want to do that, and that's maybe like too much for you at the start, send a message to Scott, send a message to me. We'll put our emails up at the bottom. I know it sounds ridiculous, like we're not know-alls, we're not experts, but we've been through it personally. We've watched each other go through it. And if that's even a 1%, like,
you could tell,
if you even take 1% from that,
anybody listening to this podcast will hopefully hear the passion and the honesty about how we feel about it, and like how better off we are. But I think the biggest take home of everything is, no matter how much fun you're having at the time, no matter how nice it tastes, whatever, it's just not worth it.
Nah, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And again, nothing wrong with sociable drinking in safe amounts and not changing or affecting your life or changing who you are. But if it is going that bit further, it's just not worth it, man. It's 100%, man.
Definitely not. But aye, definitely, if you're having issues, think you've got issues, think it could become an issue, chances are you've got a problem already, and there is issues if you're thinking about it. Then get in touch with your friend, get in touch with a family member, GP, us, 2 clowns, anybody. Just don't sit and let it fester, because you'll just, even if you don't suffer from depression, you'll get yourself down, you'll feel depressed.
Find a hobby, get a hobby.
And you'll drink.
Get a hobby, get a goal of like to keep you busy, to keep you. Because the biggest thing I think is a lot of the big thing is boredom. When people get bored, they end up drinking through boredom, I think, and I used to maybe do that quite a lot.
And again, it's starting young as well. Like, in this country particularly, people start young and it just becomes part of you, and that's not, it's not really anybody's fault. But if it does become a problem, don't let it get to a point where you're either going to end up hurting yourself, hurting others, both.
God, one moment of madness can then put you in jail for something for months or years when you're not a bad person.
Or if you feel down, depressed through it, and you do something to yourself and you end up not here, or you get injured due to something else that could have been prevented. Like,
I mean, it's crazy, man.
I mean, there's
so
people
many.
that suffer depression, sadly, just generally, but even if you don't have depression in general, alcohol is it's a depressant, so there's so much you can like stay away from if you stop doing it, if you've got issues. So
Totally. I like it, mate. Now,
this is your life.
we're just going to rattle off a few remember the times. Right? So I'm just going to basically bring up some memories of us, of what I have of you, and I'm just going to tell me what you think
I'm
about it.
surprised you remember anything, but let's
Well,
go.
this is the thing, right? This should hopefully, there should
This
be some...
might not even be actual things that happened.
Fuck up, they all happened. This is the mild version. Left out the fucking bad shit, man, trust me.
Good.
Because obviously, you have the potential to come back at me here, so I didn't want to end up getting all my fucking dirtiest secrets getting told. Right, so remember that time you spewed out a fagged out and shat yourself at the same time?
For anybody that's not Scottish listening,
He was sick and a cigarette came out of his mouth that he'd obviously swallowed or something, I don't know. But that was outside
I
Sleazy's.
probably downed a pint and someone had put a cigarette out in it, and it wasn't my pint, and I probably downed it in a beer garden. And then I was
my
sick.
19th birthday.
And at the time I was being sick, I done the toilet, and then I had to take my
That was
bottle
horrific,
shorts
man.
off and
Flushed him down the toilet and we went out to the ABC.
just wore jeans. Went free.
Remember when we went to London for Give It a Name and you couldn't walk properly before we even got to the hotel?
I disappeared to go and buy cigarettes, didn't even smoke, but obviously I smoked every time I drank, so I basically smoked every day.
I was like, where is he?
And I ended up playing football with local kids in like a wee AstroTurf, like five-a-side park. And obviously in my naive head, I'm thinking, this is just me being nice and having fun, which it was hilarious. And I even got to the point where I ended up in a newsagent buying sweets for kids and myself. Think how that sounds, right? And I'm just being a genuine good guy.
Unbelievable.
But think how that could have looked to the people around me. Ridiculous.
I mean, these things are funny, but again, it's like shit that's like...
It's like something you'd see in a sketch.
What
like,
are you doing? You know what I mean?
You can't, I mean, you should be able to do stuff like that in society, but sadly, you can't.
That same trip when we were coming home, we were walking up from the exhibition centre to my flat, and we were actually walking up the street whilst projectiles spewing as we walked in sync with each other.
Also, we kept walking to try and blend in with the guys in the suits that were coming off the train after a long shift, breaking the bank and shit. And we actually just kept walking whilst being sick, as if the sick wasn't going to give it away that we weren't normal.
That was a bit fucked up, man. Oh god. Went to Rev one night and you didn't have your ID and you told me to go into Rev and go to the bar and get a drink and fall into the fire exit.
Like it was an accident.
And which I done, and you were taking a shite up the alley and you quickly finished and ran into Rev through the fire exit after just taking a shite in the alley.
And as much as that's
and you got in
and disgusting, I did use your school books, your school jotters as toilet paper. But also, it was like Metal Gear Solid. You fell against the fire exit quickly before the security guards seen anything. I ran in the fire exit.
with your t-shirt over your head.
Grabbed a pint of Old English, t-shirt over my head, like cornholio.
Oh my god, man.
TP. So that if they looked back at the cameras, they wouldn't be able to see who it was, so they couldn't pick me out of the crowd.
I mean, it was just genius idea,
That
mate.
was
But we
quite
got in.
ingenious.
You got in.
We got in. We had a great night.
It was amazing. We ended up back at a party. See, how do we remember this shit, man? But another Rev one actually is another birthday of mine that you got kicked out literally 10 minutes after we all got there, and you were standing just because you were that drunk.
That was the time we had the limo.
Aye.
Aye.
You were literally standing outside Rev,
I was actually
crying, going, "Everybody, come with me. I'll pay you all into the garage." And this was at like 10:30 or something.
And that's the. I mean, on a serious note, that's how depressing it got. Like, because I wasn't allowed in somewhere to drink and continue the party or continue the consuming of alcohol, I was genuinely crying. Probably not a grown man at that point, and that's how bad it was even then. Like, I know people probably do that don't have problems, but that was genuinely one of the most saddest points in my life.
That was depressing.
Like, that's it. Is that all day?
No. We went to the cinema on a Sunday. Went to the cinema on a Sunday, and got home on fucking Wednesday.
I don't remember that. Thank
You
God.
do?
Really?
Yeah, man. We ended up.
What did we go see?
We ended up out in the classic Grand.
Meet the Fockers.
Fuck knows. We went.
Fuck
No, this
knows.
was near the end, man.
Fuck knows 4.
We went to the cinema on the Sunday night. We got tins for the cinema. So we started drinking in the cinema and got a taste. We went to the Rufus.
Got
Then
a
we went to the
taste.
classic Grand.
Oh yeah,
Then
yeah,
we ended
yeah,
up
yeah.
back at our house.
Ended up in Govan, of all places, that I ended up moving to, having to cycle by this spot every day, thinking, "Oh my God,
But
what
basically,
happened?"
I mean, this like that's funny going to the cinema on a Sunday and getting back. Like I remember I went in to work on Wednesday, and they're just like, "Where the fuck have you been?" But that was a low point for us, man. Like I remember when we got back into town one of those nights, and we were fucking like. We didn't have any money, and we were just going to the pub and hope that somebody would get us a drink, basically.
Aye. And they always would, and I think that's another serious point. Like, people fueled it, but I don't think people genuinely knew either. I remember one time we went to Nice and Sleazy's, this was that point, and we met Sam for Twin Atlantic, and we literally, I don't think we asked for a drink, he offered to buy us a drink. I think we made it pretty obvious that we were quite obviously
couldn't get
saying we were
ourselves
skint, and we got a couple of bottles of beer, and we pretty much left straight after that because probably too embarrassed to not be able to repay the favour.
I remember.
And that's pretty bad.
You actually went to go home. You went on the bus, but you got off at the next stop and
And ran back.
Came back up to my flat. Crazy, man. Fucking nuts, man. I was going to say that one, but I don't think I will. I think I'll leave that one. You were at my flat, Kelvin Grove, and I walked into my bedroom, and you had opened up a big fucking Madeira cake loaf, and you were stamping it into my carpet. Who fucking does that? That was ridiculous, man. And then not only that, I was like, what the fuck? Clean this up. And you fucking threw my Hoover down the stairs and broke it, so you're like, can I clear it up? The Hoover doesn't work. For fuck's sake. On the same night, you shat on my bacon tray and put it in the oven.
This is classic. This was not me.
That was, man. It was fucking you,
If
man.
I'd done this, I would remember. Apparently it was a man called Fandy. But then David Gillespie said it was him, and David Gillespie's not the most trustworthy guy, is he?
Mate.
David Gillespie done a shit on Scott Douglas Craig's bacon
It
tray
was you.
and cooked it.
No, they didn't cook it. They were.
He preheated
They
the
waited
oven
till
the
they
next
put-
day
yeah.
for a pizza and
That-
started to bake the shit. This was not me.
It was you.
I'm 31 years old. This is embarrassing, but at the time I would have claimed this. This did not happen.
You obviously just don't remember it then. You got me to jail twice. Thanks.
I didn't get you to jail.
know,
You
I
made your
know.
own decisions.
I know.
We were fighting over a bottle of cider
The first time.
at Queen Street Station,
Yeah.
and
And they thought I was
he
basically
rugby
assaulting
tackled
me.
me into newspaper stands. Obviously, it wasn't an assault. Well, it was, but not something that was going to be classed as an assault. And the BTP
But I ended up
grabbed him in,
overnight.
pretended I was pressing charges, kept him in overnight, obviously until he got sobered up because he was breaching
The second time we had been out
in Blantyre.
in well, we went into town, went to the ABC, went back to yours. Absolutely fucking
We
drunk
were
as
in the
fuck.
street, we fell out.
But we fell out, and I was like, fuck you, I'm walking home. And I started trying to walk from Blantyre
back
to the
roads.
city centre, and I basically passed out.
Someone's obviously
in the
phoned
road.
in.
Oh, yeah, that
seen
other
him,
police have just
worried.
drove past me and picked me up. And again,
Again,
we're
probably-
laughing about these funny stories, but that was obviously a very
I mean,
fucking
that-
low point, man.
That could have, I mean, obviously it was nothing major and there was no charges or anything, obviously, but
Could have fucking got
it could have
myself up,
changed your
right?
life. Like, give us one more. This is embarrassing. One more. Choose wisely. Don't take it too far.
Fucking exactly, man. You used to think you were Pete Doherty. with that fucking haircut. The first day I moved into 31F, you almost got my windows panned in because there was a guy walking past and you shouted at him, "Fuck you, you fat comic book hero." And he said he's going to come.
I'm a fat comic
And
book
he said
not
he
hero.
was going to come back and break my windows the first day I moved into my new flat. Shiting that. And then, the other one was just like, that time we went to Blink and we're drinking the SECC straight vodka at 9 in the morning. And like,
I
we
actually spoke
ended
about
up,
this with Lindsay recently.
we ended up actually rolling about the SECC floor,
That was my
crying into each other.
My first ever wage as a working human being at the age of 18, working for the Inland Revenue at the time. And I lifted £100. I didn't buy anything. I didn't have any money. I was swimming on the tiles. Kids with their parents. I ended up losing my favourite t-shirt that was actually Scott's. Ended up in a different t-shirt. I remember them playing a song called Happy Holidays, You Bastard, which consists of someone ejaculated into a sock, which is a grandfather in the story. That's what I remember. I remember trying to get on stage. I think in my head I was going to go on top of the barrier and jump on and like grab Tom DeLong. And all I remember is crying at the end, everybody walking past, and I'm sitting crying, and my arms were all bruised, which I said was the bouncers, but probably just me flopping over the barrier at the front.
Oh my God, man.
But that was a total waste. But again, it's funny now, but thinking back then at that age, doing things like that, like
they
so
were
dangerous.
they were our favourite band ever, obviously, and I can't remember one song.
Nah. Ejaculate into a sock.
That's all you
That's
remember.
That's all I remember. What a sad.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean,
I just remember literally us two howling, crying on the floor, and all these, as you say, all these parents were walking by with their kids, and us two idiots were literally.
And other than me having a sleeve of tattoos at 18, we
God.
probably still looked about 14, 15. So the parents must have been like, "Oh my God, these kids are the same age as my kids, and look at the state of them." That's what you don't want to be, kids.
Oh, I don't know.
So maybe we helped some other people that way as well,
But like,
subconsciously.
I mean, that's only a few of them, but I mean, obviously the bad ones we're not going to talk about on here. But that was just a few highlight reels from when we were younger, and that's that. Anything else to finish on?
Nah.
Thanks for coming on, man. It's obviously having a wee bit of a laugh at the end there, but obviously it's quite a fucking.
It's a serious subject,
it is, man, and like I appreciate you coming on and being honest.
Appreciate being asked, man, and
but thanks for being honest and saying stuff and opening up about things that you maybe aren't proud of, and potentially could be helping people, man.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening, and see you next week.